Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I, the Ancestor of Uchiha, destroy Konoha at the start. Chapter 21. After hearing Muyun's words, Orochimaru and Jiraiya were instantly stunned. What kind of enemy is the most terrible in this world? It's such a purposeless person. Never guess what he was thinking in his heart, nor what he wanted to do. Maybe he would start planning to destroy the world one day after he woke up. Even when the interest comes, it is possible to live in seclusion and farm. No one can guess his next move, and there is no way to prevent it. Just like a meteorite that has been hanging in the sky, it will be the end of the world when it falls. However, he never knows when he will fall, or if he will fall. Jiraiya looked at Muyun's eyes, and there was a deep color of jealousy hidden. This enemy is definitely not something he can contend alone. Even the entire Konoha village is far from enough. It is estimated that only the entire ninja world can compete with him. Once he reappears in the ninja world one day, it will be the beginning of the Fourth Ninja World War. Konoha must be restored as soon as possible in the previous battle, in case of war that may break out at any time. Thinking of this, Jiraiya slowly turned around, preparing to take Kakashi down the mountain. At this moment, a lingering chill came from behind him in an instant. Jiraiya just moved, but the chill suddenly disappeared. However, in the center of his eyebrows, there was a sharp tip of the knife. Since I'm here, I have to keep something. Jiraiya's face changed drastically in an instant, and the expression on her face was terrified. With a bang, it burst into a white smoke and disappeared. Shadow clone, Orochimaru murmured. He thought that Jiraiya was really killed by Muyun. But that is Zanpakuto Hirenmaru. Even if only a shadow clone is killed, nothing will be lost. At the same time, Jiraiya, who was halfway up the mountain, instantly fell to his knees. The whole body was shaking slightly. The dense cold sweat has soaked his clothes. The expression on his face is horrified to ultimate. A sharp pain from the depths of the soul almost made him lose his mind. Even some memories gradually became blurred with the severe pain. Only one thought lingered in his mind, extremely clear. Uchiha Muyun is definitely the worst enemy in the entire ninja world. Only by uniting the power of the five powers can we hope to compete with him. As for Kakashi, I can only give up. Mount Zumi. With a stab hitting Jiraiya's soul, Muyun had no need to stay. He held Kakashi's neck in his hand and picked him up. Capture. Kakashi, who was already in a coma, opened his eyes instantly. The Mangekyo in the left eye has no room for resistance under the power of the system. Was instantly absorbed by Muyun. The severe pain seemed to penetrate deep into the bone marrow. Kakashi let out a heart-piercing scream. What? Muyun glanced at him, palms suddenly pressed hard. Kakashi's throat was instantly pinched to the sound of a crisp bone fracture. After doing all this, he threw Kakashi's body on the ground and walked down the mountain. Orochimaru followed closely behind him, and the pair of snake pupils were trembling with excitement. He is now more and more interested in Muyun's purpose. For peace. It will definitely not be that simple. Moreover, the power he possessed fascinated Orochimaru deeply. Perhaps, it is possible to obtain some more powerful power from him, maybe. Just as the two of them left, an exclamation suddenly came. The whole mountain is covered by ice. No wonder it's so cold. Yingxie rubbed her shoulders with her hands and shivered severely. It can change the terrain and weather. Is this ice escape? Nan Li was also trembling with cold, and the bingling under his feet made a crisp sound as he walked around. In the end, Wan Yun looked around at the surrounding environment, looking for the long knife that tore the clouds just now. Where's the knife? Was taken away. Yingxie, let's see who took the knife. Yingxie nodded her head, quickly unprinting between her hands. Secret technique treasure appearance. A white light instantly appeared in her hand, shining on the entire mountain top. The chakra floating in the air was instantly captured by this white light and transformed into a personal shadow. Her secret technique does not have the slightest offensive power, but it can achieve an effect similar to that of retracing time by capturing chakra floating in the air. However, only the scene at the time can be seen. Even so, it can be considered a very magical ability in the ninja world. In her secret technique, the previous scene was clearly displayed before everyone's eyes. From Muyun and Orochimaru up the mountain, Hirenmaru broke ground. instantly kill Bei Yanhu, and freeze the entire mountain top. In the end, the avatars of Kakashi and Jiraiya were killed, and the two went down the mountain. They all reflowed clearly. Wan Jun's pupils shrank immediately, and even in such a cold environment, a trace of cold sweat oozes from his forehead. This knife has a master. Moreover, it seems rather uncomfortable. Especially the man standing next to him. Isn't that Konoha's rebel Orochimaru? What a horrible combination. Even Yingxie, who used the secret technique, was taken aback, and her voice was a little trembling. Big Orochimaru. Orochimaru has a great reputation in the entire ninja world, and is recognized as a dangerous person. Once it falls into his hands, it will definitely be used as experimental material to conduct various terrifying experiments. Thinking of this, Yingxie fiercely hit a Ji-Ling, and the secret technique was released immediately. Boss, we shouldn't be able to get this knife, that guy is Orochimaru. The expression on Wan Jun's face was very serious. He looked in the direction where Muyun and the two were leaving, and his eyes were full of determination to see death at home. It seems that it is possible to fight to the death at any time. Nan Li and Yingxie next to her were both taken aback. In order to complete the mission, put life and death aside. Boss Wan is the real ninja like this. The two of us are still far apart. Cannot help but have a feeling of admiration for him. In the two worshipping eyes, Wan Yan said with a serious face. The mission failed, go back and prepare to accept the adult's punishment. After speaking, turn around and leave. He ignored the surprised eyes of the two. After a while, the two people reacted from the surprise just now. Do you think it's home to death? This is, gone. At the same time, a figure wearing a Uzumaki mask instantly appeared in the middle of Rain Shinobi Village. In a scarlet Sharingan, gazes of hatred gleamed. Uchiha, Muyun. Whoever hinders my plan will have to pay the corresponding price. The neighboring country in the country of grass is the country of rain. Located in soil, fire and wind, the transfer of the three major powers has been swept in by wars between major powers all the year round. Even their own national territories often become battlefields between major powers. At the same time, this is also the base camp of Akatsuki. Rain Shinobi Village. In this village surrounded by heavy rains all year round, two powers have been replaced. Before, Rain Shinobi Village was controlled by Hanzo of the Salamander, the demigod of the shinobi world. Later, because of his betrayal, the first-generation Akatsuki was almost killed and wounded. Yahiko committed suicide and Nagato crippled both legs. Therefore, after Nagato thoroughly mastered Rinnegan's power, he immediately used Six Paths Pen to kill Hanzo of the Salamander. Take over the control of Rain Shinobi Village and build it into the base camp of Akatsuki. However, now Akatsuki has organized Nagato Konan and Juuwai, and there are only a few people. Strength, far from reaching its peak. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in midair. Obito touched his left eye through the Uzumaki mask on his face. Even after such a long lapse, I was still afraid for a while. The kind of black inflammation that will not disappear is almost his nemesis. Even his Kamui couldn't stop it. Fortunately, he got some spare left eyes from Madara and carved a Zanagi in it in advance. Otherwise, he is already dead. Madara also said something about Uchiha Muyun. Recognized as the strongest by the Uchiha clan. Even if his strength has not fully recovered now, it is definitely not something he can deal with. It seems that someone must be found to try his Jinliang. Kamui in his right eye was activated and disappeared instantly. Appeared again, already in front of Nagato and Konan. At this time, Nagato is talking to Konan most in a special wheelchair. His legs had long been crippled by Hanzo of the Salamander, and he could only live in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Normally, I rely on Pain's Six Paths for outside activities. As soon as Obito appeared, Pen's Six Paths eyes instantly focused on him. Madara, what are you doing here? Under the gaze of Rinnegan in the Six Pairs, Obito was not nervous. He is now playing the role of Madara, and he can only be convincing if he shows his haki and madness. What's more, there is only one person who can restrain his Kamui. To achieve your goals, the current strength is not enough. It just so happens that I have a few candidates for your reference. In the current Akatsuki organization, apart from Nagato Konan and Zetsu, there are only Loquat Juzo, Kakuzu and Sasori. There are only 6 people in total. If you want to successfully collect the 9 big-tailed beasts, you will use absolute strength to frighten the entire ninja world, and you will see true peace. Such strength is far from enough. When they saw Nagato they didn't refute. Obito continued. There are 3 candidates. The first is Kurigakure's elite ninja, known as Hoshigaki Kisame of the Tailless Beast. Konoha S-class rebel ninja Orochimaru, and the recently awakened Sengoku period legendary ninja, Uchiha Myu-yun. Nagato of Konan didn't have much reaction when he heard the first 2 names. However, the legendary ninja still made them stunned. Uchiha Myu-yun, a legendary ninja from the Sengoku period. Akatsuki's current system has not been perfected, and Sasori has not yet taken over the intelligence. Therefore, the intelligence is very blocked, and even Konoha's matters are only half understood. I don't know the name of Uchiha Myu-yun at all. Konan frowned, and the woman's instinct made him feel that things were never as simple as they were told to him. Since you are a member of Uchiha, why don't you recruit? Obito pretended to be indifferent. Well, they are all the old guys who survived the Sengoku period. Even people of the same race will inevitably be a little unhappy with each other. I can only trouble you to come forward. After speaking, Obito's body was illusory for an instant. Before leaving, repeat again. If you can recruit Myu-yun into Akatsuki, your plan will be unimpeded, but I have to say one more thing. It might die. After speaking, Obito sneered. Kamui activated and disappeared in front of the 2 of them instantly. Konan looked at Obito aside, frowning slightly. If it is really like what Madara said, Uchiha who has awakened from the Sengoku period must be extremely strong and the possibility of recruitment is unlikely. Nagato nodded tiredly. However, we have to try. In order to see Yahiko's dream, we need this kind of power. Hearing Yahiko's name, Konan also fell silent. Back then, she was caught by Hanzo of the Salamander, and Yahiko committed suicide in order to protect her name. This made Nagato anger Rinnegan and summon the Geto statue. Otherwise, Akatsuki would no longer exist. Without Yahiko's sacrifice, the 2 of them would have been killed by Hanzo of the Salamander. Later, Akatsuki took Yahiko's dream as the purpose of the organization. Collect the 9 big-tailed beasts and frighten the 5 big countries with absolutely powerful strength. Let the entire ninja world achieve real peace. As for the project Tasuki no Mi planned by Madara and Obito, they don't even know. It's just a pawn used by Obito. After pondering for a moment, Nagato spoke again. This task, I will go personally. If it's like what Madara said, only Pen 6 Paths can be his opponent in the entire Akatsuki organization. Others, they just went to die in vain. But your body. After listening to Nagato's words, Konan looked at him worriedly. Now, he controls 6 Paths Pen not only using chakra. Even overdraw his vitality. The more you use it, the shorter his lifespan. Playing against Uchiha in the Sengoku period will certainly not be so easy. The physical damage to Nagato will be very serious now. Nagato shook his head, the expression on his face full of determination. The current ninja world is too unstable, and the progress must be accelerated. Now they don't have a tail beast in their hands, and the entire ninja world is surging. No more time can be wasted. Konan looked at Nagato's pale face and bit his lip tightly. After Yahiko's death, the purpose of Nagato's life was to realize Yahiko's dream. No matter how much you persuade, it can't be useful. In that case, I will go with you. Konoha village. In Hokage's office, Tsunade was sitting behind the desk, dealing with documents urgently. As Shizune hasn't arrived yet, Narakajiu will be supported temporarily. At this time, although Tsunade has not succeeded Hokage, but with her identity as Princess Senju, she is a student of 3rd Hokage. Even sitting in Hokage's position, no one said anything back. What's more, it was Konoha's critical juncture at this time. After Uchiha Myu-yun made an uproar in Konoha, the strength of the entire village was unprecedentedly weak. The other 4 countries have long been spying on the abundance of the Fire Country, and they have been doing small moves at the border of the Fire Country all the year round. This time, after learning that Konoha had been weakened, he changed even more. Especially the militant Cloud Shinobi has dispatched ninjas to invade the territory of the Country of Fire. Prepare to take this opportunity to break Konoha in one fell swoop and occupy the Land of Fire. Master Tsunade, this is urgent information from Cloud Shinobi. Naraluju handed a document to Tsunade, with a handful of color on his face. According to the scattered Anbu investigation, a large number of Cloud Shinobi have sneaked into the territory of the country of Tanokuni and the country of Iron, and may enter the territory of the country of Fire at any time. Just after reading the document in hand, the door of Hokage's office was slammed open. An Anbu, wearing an animal mask, walked in quickly. Master Tsunade, many spies from other countries have been found in the Land of Fire, and even Daimyo's side has caught 3 spies belonging to different villages. This is a letter from the daimyo to you. Tsunade took the letter with a stern face. After reading it, his face became even more ugly. A fist hit the desk in front of him, and the entire table cracked in an instant. There was a loud noise. Where is Jiraiya? Is there no news yet? Seeing Tsunade getting angry, Nara Shikajiu was also a little frightened. Tsunade's temper has never been too good. When he was in Konoha, Jiraiya was often beaten by him. Now she was forced to be in the position of Hokage that she didn't want to do, and her heart was already suffocated. But at this time, the 4 major countries are ready to move, and troubles are wave after wave. With her temper, it was amazing that she could bear it until now. Master Jiraiya has no news yet, it should be on the way back with Kakashi. The intense anger made Tsunade's face more ugly. The guy Jiraiya forced her to stay in Konoha village, but he didn't notice him. All these messy things were thrown to her. When that guy comes back, he must be severely taught. After taking a few deep breaths, Tsunade was in position again. At the moment, the ultimate goal is to quell the war. Once Cloud Shinobi invades at this time, the entire Land of Fire will suffer. At this moment, an Anbu walked into Hokage's office anxiously. Master Tsunade, Master Jiraiya is back. Tsunade was taken aback and threw the documents in his hands on the table. He twisted his fists twice, and the joints made a burst of noise. A smirk of malicious intent appeared on his face. Where is that guy? At this moment, a pale figure slowly walked into Hokage's office. Jiraiya seemed to be a teenager in old age, and her white hair was dull. Even the lips are a little pale. It seemed that he had experienced cruel torture. After being beheaded by Zanpakuto in Shadow Clone, his soul received serious injuries. During these 10 days, he was suffering tremendously every moment. It seems that the whole person has been torn apart alive. That kind of inhuman torture has left him without rest for many days. The whole person is exhausted and weak to the extreme. Almost nervous. Being able to return to Konoha was entirely dependent on his strong willpower to survive him alive. Tsunade was taken aback, and quickly let him sit on the chair. How did you do this? Didn't you mean to find Kakashi? What about people? She knows Jiraiya's strength very well. Although he has been wandering in the ninja world, his strength is estimated to have already surpassed 3rd Hokage. To hurt him like this, the enemy must be a very strong ninja. Moreover, there is definitely more than one. Seeing Tsunade's figure, Jiraiya barely smiled at the corner of her mouth. Sorry, I couldn't be by your side at this critical moment. After hearing his words, Tsunade felt sour. He and Jiraiya have never had much contact with each other over the years. But every time he appeared, it was at the most critical moment. Most of the money he earned from publishing books is used to help him pay off his gambling debts. Seeing such a weak Jiraiya, I still think of myself all the time. A deep touch came from the bottom of my heart. Okay, stop talking, I will heal you first. At this moment, Jiraiya grabbed her arm. It almost made Tsunade jump up in shock. This product, won't you take the opportunity to take advantage? Tsunade, Uchiha Muyun is too strong. There is a sword that can kill the soul. My injury is only because I was cut into the Shadow Clone by that knife. Kakashi also died in his hand. Konoha has a big sword. Trouble. After saying this, Jiraiya leaned back in the chair and fell asleep. These days, he has tolerated the pain and drove on his way, and his energy has been exhausted to the limit. After finishing the information, exhaustion poured into his body instantly. Just a moment, I fell asleep. But what he said shocked Tsunade beyond words. The sword that slays the soul. Just beheading a shadow clone, can Jiraiya be wounded like this? This is more terrifying than broken spiritualization technique. Konoha is now facing the invasion of Thunder Country, and his strength is unprecedentedly weak. If this time, Uchiha Muyun is jumping out and making trouble. That, Konoha village, can you still hold it? At this moment, Might Guy slammed open the door of Hokage's office. There was a panic on his face. Master Tsunade, a large number of cloud shinobi have flooded into the land of fire, and they are rushing in the direction of Konoha. There are also a small number of ninja spies from the other 3 countries, and they are about to reach the Valley of the End. Tsunade stood up abruptly and held it firmly with both hands. Is it true that war cannot be avoided? Among the gloomy underground buildings, Wan Yun, Yingshe and Nanli were kneeling on the ground honestly. A woman was sitting quietly in front of the 3 of them. The dim light shone on and off her face, and she couldn't see whether she was happy or angry. So, the 3 of you are back. Hearing the woman's flat voice, the heads of the 3 were lowered, almost touching the floor. Dense cold sweat oozes out of Wan Jun's forehead. Before the woman broke out, she said quickly, Master Luli, that knife already has a master. With our strength, it is really difficult to take it back. The woman sat up slightly, as if she was a little surprised. Yingshe, show me the scene at that time. Yes. Yingshe hurriedly got up, making handprints quickly with both hands. Secret technique light and shadow reappear. Suddenly, a strange chakra came out of her eyes. The scene on the top of Mount Zumi reappeared in the surrounding environment again. Zanpakuto, tearing through the clouds, and the scene held by Muyun in his hand, were clearly presented in front of everyone. Luli, who was originally sitting on a chair, saw Muyun the moment she saw it. The whole body was shocked, as if electrocuted. Instantly stood up from the chair, pointed at Muyun in the picture, his lips were shaking with excitement. What about others? Seeing Luli's exaggerated expression, Yingshe jumped down. The secret technique was instantly lifted. Luli's arms stretched toward the disappearing scene, as if with a deep resentment. Even in his eyes, there was this faint mist of water. Master Luli, that person is too strong, even the top of the mountain is frozen, our strength can't stop her at all. Yingshe quickly explained that her whole body was trembling, as if she was terrified of Luli. In the darkness, leisurely let out a long sigh. Don't blame you, even all the powerful ninjas in the entire ninja world can't stop his footsteps. How can you possibly? Luli sat back on the seat with eyes absent, as if thinking of something. Kakuzu smiled. Within the country of grass, Uchiha Muyun was walking leisurely on a small road, and Hiranmaru was hung on his waist. Exudes a misty cold air, sweeping away the summer heat. Orochimaru followed closely behind him, wearing a large black robe. Cover his well-known face tightly. Master Muyun, what shall we do next? Orochimaru is very curious about Uchiha Muyun now. Wrap his next purpose. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Muyun only uttered 3 words faintly. Sunagakure. Let Orochimaru stunned. Sunagakure was founded in the country of wind and is the poorest among the 5 ninja villages. Moreover, it seems to have nothing to do with Uchiha. What do you go to Sunagakure for? A look of remembrance flashed in Uchiha Muyun's eyes. He remembered that Sunagakure should have a consultant named mother-in-law Chiandai. However, when I saw her back then, she was just a little girl under 10 years old. His father is one of his subordinates. Now, the power of his being sealed has only recovered chakra attributes and Zanpakuto. There is also Wood Style's blood inheritance limit, and the Eternal Mangekyo's pupil power does not know where it is sealed. As long as all the power is recovered, the strength of the Sengoku period can be restored. Even, become stronger. The descendants of that year, except Orochimaru. Only Sunagakure's Chio is still known to him. The rest of the people, it is estimated that they have been wiped out under the bloody cleaning of Senju Tobarama. Only to go to Sunagakure to ask Chio to try his luck. See if he can know where his power is sealed. The closest way from the country of grass to the country of wind is the country of rain that crosses between the 2 countries. That is, Akatsuki's site, in Rain Shinobi Village. A piece of white paper fluttered down from midair. Instantly blended into Conan's body. Conan's closed eyes opened instantly, and he turned to Nagato, who was aside, and said, I have found Orochimaru's trace, now at the border of the Rain country, and the one next to him should be the person Madara said. Nagato nodded slightly, and Six Paths Pain, who who was standing on both sides, opened his eyes instantly. In the 6 pairs of Rinnegan, there is a kind of emotionless color. Since you are in the country of rain, let everyone start together, so that you can see the strength of the seniors in the Sengoku period. The next day, Muyun and Orochimaru have reached the depths of the rain country. Looking at this country soaked in rain all year round, Muyun also remembered the most famous organization in the country of rain. Dawn. At this moment, a figure appeared instantly at the end of realization. The whole body was baptized by heavy rain, and a vague mist of water bloomed. I can only vaguely see that the man has orange hair. Orochimaru came out quite deep, with sinister eyes from a pair of snake eyes. Who are you? Heavenly Wei Pain slowly walked out of the rain, ignoring the rain in the sky. Just put his eyes on Uchiha Muyun's body. Orochimaru was surprised after seeing his appearance. Rinnegan. Legend has it that only Sage of 6 Paths has eyes. Able to control the power of 6 paths, possess the power of destroying the world, and control the lofty pupil power of body and death. Unexpectedly, I could see it here. In my heart, there was a strong sense of spying on these Rinnegans. Uchiha Muyun, Orochimaru, this time I am here to invite you to join Akatsuki. After hearing God's words, Orochimaru's mouth showed a cruel smile. Shao, is it the organization that was destroyed by Hanzo of the Salamander? I didn't expect that there were still people who could survive. Tiandao's brows wrinkled for an instant, and he heard the name he didn't want to hear in Orochimaru's mouth. Suddenly, several silhouettes emerged from the rain. Enclose Muyun and Orochimaru tightly. Loquat Juzo, Sasori of Red Sand, Konan, and the other 5 paths of Pen's 6 paths are among them. Outside of Jude, Akatsuki's organization can be regarded as an outburst. Kakuzu, who was standing behind the two, saw the long sword on Muyun's waist. The brow furrowed deeply, as if thinking of some long-lasting memory. After a while, his eyes suddenly widened, and his face was full of horror. Which one? The entire Akatsuki organization rushed out to surround Muyun and Orochimaru tightly. Orochimaru glanced roughly. Even he was a little nervous. These people, there is not a nameless person. Even in the entire ninja realm, they all have reputable names. One of the 7 former mist shinobi ninja swords, the holder of the beheaded sword, Loquat Juzo. There is also Sunagakure's rebel, the genius puppet master Akasori Sasori. The undead ninja Kakuzu, the rebel of Takian village. There are 6 men who also own Rinnegan. Even the only woman mastered his inability to see through. It was able to use paper to form wings, floating in the air. A drop of cold sweat dripped on Orochimaru's forehead. Facing so many masters at the same time, even he couldn't guarantee to retreat all over. What's more, the abilities of a few of them are very rare in the entire ninja world. The lack of corresponding intelligence makes it even more troublesome to deal with. At this moment, Kakuzu, standing behind them, seemed to have discovered something. A pair of green eyes stared at the long knife on Muyun's waist. Even the brow furrowed deeply. That knife is very familiar. However, I just can't remember where I saw it. I only knew that he was deeply impressed. Even now it seems that there is an inexplicable throbbing feeling in my heart. At this time, Heavenly Dao Pain spoke slowly. It seems that only strength can surrender you. At this time, Muyun felt a wave of anger in his heart when he saw these familiar and unfamiliar figures. There is only one person who can direct the entire Akatsuki organization. Uchiha Obito. This guy, as expected, escaped Amaterasu's attack with Izanagi. With a movement of his wrist, Hirinmaru on his waist slowly came out of his body. The biting cold air instantly penetrated from the blade. The rain in the sky suddenly slowed down, and it instantly condensed into tiny icicles in front of everyone's eyes. Even the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped a lot. People can't help but feel a cold breath. Bing done. Shouldn't the Uchiha clan be good at fire style? Loquat Shizo only felt that the decapitating knife in his hand was a bit biting cold, and it would be better to condense chakra in his palm. Sasori also had a look of astonishment, and stretched out his hand to continue the icy sky. There was a slight dignity on his face. Even the Fei Liu who he was in could feel the bone-chilling chill. The puppets rattle and rattle between their actions, which is much slower. This weather is really not suitable for puppet combat. Only Kakuzu's eyes widened, and his face was full of horror. Even the footsteps couldn't help but step back slightly. In time in this icy weather, his body oozes a layer of cold sweat. He finally remembered where he had seen that long knife. The memory of that time was a nightmare that he lingered in his whole life. Even thinking of it in his sleep would wake him up suddenly. It's just because the age is too old. For a while, I didn't even think of it. At this moment, Tian Dao suddenly opened his palm to Mu Yun. Although he didn't know what technique he used, it was strong enough to affect the weather. However, as long as the surgeon is hit, this kind of technique will naturally be lifted. The huge chakra was instantly condensed in his palm. Seeing his actions, the members of the Akatsuki organization gave up an empty space with their heart. Shen Luo Tianzheng, a huge repulsive force burst out from his palm in an instant. As soon as Orochimaru made a defensive action, he was suddenly knocked into the air by this strange ability. The whole body is like a kite with a broken wire, flying upside down in an instant. Smashed fiercely on a rock wall behind him. The ice in the entire sky was swept away by this huge repulsive force. Only Mu Yun's body, as if it had taken roots, stood firmly on the ground. His black hair was dancing freely in the gusty wind, and the armor on his body was crackled by crushed stones. However, his body did not waver at all. When the blade in his hand turned, the sharp light of the blade flashed instantly. There was a sharp hum in the air. The invisible repulsive force sent out by Heaven's Tao was instantly torn apart by the harsh light of the knife. The whole sky was quiet, and the rain fell again after a while. The members of the Shao organization on the side saw this incredible scene, and their faces were full of shock. Pens Shenluo Tianzheng, each of them had experienced it. No one can resist the weird repulsion. The power is so powerful that even the tail beast is not necessarily an opponent. That Uchiha's tribe didn't even move. Who is he? Only Kakuzu's face was covered with a natural expression, which didn't feel strange at all. If that man doesn't even possess this kind of strength, how could he suppress the entire Sengoku era? That was all the ninjas back then, recognized as the strongest. At this moment, Mu Yun, standing in the rain, slowly raised the long knife in his hand. A stronger chill spread from above the blade of the command. Even the ground under his feet was covered with a thin layer of frost. Ice Dragon Swing Tail. As the blade turned, the rain in the air instantly condensed into a majestic dragon. The sharp dragon's horns pierced the sky obliquely, and the fangs intertwined in the dragon's mouth. Like living creatures, Tiandao's pupils shrank immediately, and Nagato's heart was already full of shock. Not only can he resist the Shenluo Tianzheng, but can even use such a powerful ice escape. Is this guy really Uchiha from the Sengoku period? Although I was surprised, there was no delay in the action. Brute Dao's hands quickly formed a mudra, and his hands suddenly pressed on the ground. Summoning technique. The mechanical cover on the head of Shira Dao opened instantly, and the huge chakra was already condensed in it. Tian Dao has also raised his palm again, and chakra energy that is larger than before is sprayed out of the palm. Shen Luo Tianzheng. At the same time, a azure blue chakra beam of light also shot out in an instant. A huge three-headed dog also appeared behind Mu Yun. Opened his mouth in the blood basin, biting away at it fiercely. Mu Yun turned the blade in his hand, and a deep chill was seen in his eyes. The ice dragon in the sky suddenly flicked its tail and let out a trembling dragon chant. Absolutely empty. Absolutely empty. As Mu Yun's voice fell, the ice dragon in the sky suddenly flicked its tail. There was a thunderous explosion in the air. Everyone's ears were hummed by this dragon chant. Even the line of sight is a bit blurred. The ice dragon swooped down instantly and slammed into the three-headed dog. The freezing cold instantly froze it from an ice sculpture. At the same time, the long knife in Mu Yun's hand suddenly flicked. In the direction pointed by the tip of the knife, a biting chill burst out in an instant. On the azure blue chakra beam, a large amount of ice condensed in an instant. Under the huge force, it burst into ice crystals all over the sky. There was a trace of killing intent in Mu Yun's eyes, and the sharp blade light once again tore the repulsion of Shenluo Tianzheng. With a turn of the blade, the Shira Dao at the forefront was chopped into two. The freezing cold instantly froze his body into an ice sculpture. Smashed to the ground and smashed. From the moment he saw Akatsuki, Mu Yun's heart was filled with anger. The only person who can direct the entire Akatsuki organization is Obito. This guy actually called Shao organization to trouble him, what a fool. Under his anger, he didn't leave the slightest hand between shots. Sideways dodged the palm grabbed by the human world and threw it out with a knife. The sky full of ice appeared out of thin air, instantly freezing the human realm and the animal realm. Then it slashed over, killing 2 people instantly. At this moment, several detonating charms that were burning floated down. Among them, chakra has reached the brink of detonation. Mu Yun raised his hand and grabbed it in the palm of his hand, and instantly froze into ice. Smashed to pieces on the ground. The tip of the knife swiped towards Conan in the sky, and ice crystals appeared out of nowhere. Instantly froze Conan's origami wings and fell from the sky. This flashing scene made everyone too late to react. Loquat Shazang is like an ice sculpture, standing in place. His face was full of disbelief. Is this guy so strong? Pain and Conan are both suppressed by him when they join forces. The Fei Liuhu that Sasori was in opened instantly, and the body emerged from it. No way, Fei Liuhu was already frozen tightly by the cold air. The joints of the puppets are very stiff. Hiding in it at this time is completely useless. The eyes that looked at Mu Yun revealed a deep jealousy. This person is simply the enemy of the puppet master. All puppets are controlled with chakra silk thread at the fingertips of the puppet master. If it is too heavy, flexibility will be lost. Therefore, only lightweight wood can be used to make puppets. But that kind of cold can easily crack any wood. Even the organs in it will be jerky by the cold. It simply cannot play its due role. Even if Sasori wanted to make a move, there was nothing he could do. At this time, Loquat Juzo turned his head to look at Kakuzu on the side. Hey, don't you have 5 chakra attributes? Use fire style to restrain his ice escape. Kakuzu's eyes widened to the limit in an instant, and he looked at him with an idiot look. Restrain his ice escape. Give me a break. His ability does not belong to Bingdun at all, and it cannot be restrained by fire style. At that time, the Sarutobi clan collectively used fire style Haoyan technique to almost turn the entire battlefield into a sea of flames. However, the moment his long knife came out of Mu Yun's hand, it was frozen into a towering iceberg. Even the flame lay quietly in it, and there was no heat at all. That level of Bingdun can be restrained by his fire style. Do you know why I defected from Takian village? Both Loquat Juzo and Sasori were very puzzled as to why he said this while fighting. However, Kakuzu completely ignored their reaction. Just said to himself, back then, when I was just promoted to the elite Jonin, the village arranged for me a mission that could be accomplished. Assassinate the strongest of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Mu Yun. He knew the scene at that time and he still remembered it in his heart. For the benefit of the village, he still went, with a determination to die. However, when he arrived, he saw a scene that shocked him extremely. The Senju clan, the Sarutobi clan, the Whirlpool clan, and the Shimura clan joined forces to besiege Uchiha Mu Yun. At that time, the entire ground was filled with this thick flame, and the sky was full of scattered ice. Mu Yun can instantly freeze the earth with just a single knife. Numerous ninjas were frozen into ice sculptures by the cold, and smashed to pieces on the ground. Even Sarutobi Sasuke was cut into 2 pieces with a single knife and died instantly. Even the blood flowing out of the corpse contained thick ice. At that time, Kakuzu was shocked by the scene in front of him. Simply can't have the courage to shoot. Then he threw a kunai and fled back to the village overnight. Who knows, Senju Hashirama was filmed in panic by that kuwu butt. Mu Yun was stunned for a while, who was in a frenzy. It was this stunner that let the Whirlpool Ashina seize the opportunity and cast the forbidden technique on him. Take the abilities in his body out of the body. This is how hard it is to seal him together. Hearing Kakuzu's report, Loquat Juzo and Sasori were all surprised. Turning to look at Mu Yun on the battlefield. Unexpectedly, this man turned out to be such a ruthless character. Pain brought all the members of the Shao organization to force him to join the Shao organization. Is he crazy or is the world crazy? Kakuzu sneered a few times, seeing the expressions of consternation on the 2 of them. Do you know Konoha's Hokage rock? It was a mountain before, and it broke into a cliff after being cut by him. Boom. Kakuzu's words sounded like a blast of thunder, and instantly roared in their minds. A mountain. Cut it over with a slash, leaving only half of the cliff. This kind of monster, no one in the entire ninja world can contend, right? When the few people were talking, all 4 of Pen's 6 paths had already been killed by Mu Yun's sword. Only Conan, Heavenly Dao and Hell Dao are still struggling to support. It seems that it will not be able to hold it anymore. At this moment, Tiandao suddenly let out a loud roar. What? The chakra in the body instantly condenses into a small black ball in the palm of his hand. As the palm opened, it slowly floated to the sky. Planetary devastation. Its black sphere seems to have no weight at all. Floating slowly to the sky. A burst of strong gravitation burst out from it. Click, boom, the ice covered on the ground shattered instantly. Even the whole earth began to tremble slowly, and huge rocks broke apart. Under that kind of super gravitational pull, it slowly floated into the sky. Seeing Nagato using planetary devastation, Conan's face changed instantly. Compared to Shenluo Tianzhong, planetary devastation will consume more chakra. It will also cause huge damage to Nagato's body. However, at this moment, Nagato has no scruples about these. After Yahiko's death, Nagato ceased to exist. What remains is only Yahiko's dream. As long as the ninja world can be truly peaceful, Yahiko's last wish can be realized. He is willing to pay any price. What? Tiandao roared, his hands suddenly folded. A pair of eyes widened to the limit, and even the pupils were trembling slightly. The black rod implanted in the body is constantly accepting Nagato's chakra. Increase the power of planetary devastation again. Boom. The earth collapses more quickly. The roots of the trees were uprooted and slammed into the black ball in the sky with a large mass of dirt and gravel. The tree trunk instantly crushed and exploded with that strong gravitational force, and exploded into countless fragments compressed on the sphere. In a blink of an eye, a huge stone ball was formed, like a mini star. Even the ground where Akatsuki members stood on their feet began to slowly collapse. Supporting their bodies, like floating in the air. Nagato's planetary devastation, they have not seen it either. That is the ultimate sealing technique that can seal the tail beast, even Otsutsuki Kagaya. Compared to Rinnegan's other abilities, there are very few opportunities to use them. If Mu Yun hadn't pushed Nagato to the limit this time, he wouldn't use it. The damage to the terrain is great, and the damage to the body is even greater. Loquat Shizang's face was covered in cold sweat, and he muttered to himself as he watched the distorted Tiandao. Pain always said he was a god, and I believe it now. Even Sasori is full of shock. The battle between the two, let any ninja see it, it is estimated that they will doubt life. This is far beyond the battle between ninjas, right? Destroying the terrain is enough pervert, and the two of them almost change the map tiles. Definitely beyond the scope of the ninja. Sasori looked at the crazy Tiandao with a dull face, and muttered unconsciously. Now, you can always win, right? Only Kakuzu looked down at the slowly rising ground under his feet, and his face instantly showed panic. You two, let's take care of yourself first. We are also within the attack range. At this time, several people could already feel the gravity coming from midair. I feel that the whole body is lighter by more than half. With a little effort, you can float into the sky. Loquat Juzo thrust the decapitation knife into the ground forcefully, holding it tightly with one hand. Fix the body that is about to leave the ground on the ground. His face was full of cold sweat. What should we do now? We can't escape the attack range of this trick. Sasori also looked up at the small planet in the sky, and his face was full of wonder. Being able to die in the hands of such a beautiful art is a more satisfactory way to die. The gravitational force of planetary devastation is too strong, and its envelope is too wide. With their strength, they can't stop it at all. Only Kakuzu had a calm expression on his face, and his eyes were fixed on Mu Yun's body. That man must be able to crack this kind of attack. He believed in this. However, the point now is whether they can persist until the moment when Mu Yun cracks the attack. At this moment, in Kakuzu's expectant eyes, the long knife in Mu Yun's hand was slowly raised. A cold voice was clearly transmitted to his ears. Sit in the frosty sky, Hirenmaru. A sharp blade of light instantly tore the entire air. Roar. The sky-shaking dragon chant appeared again. The ice dragon hovered out instantly along the tip of the knife in Muyun's hand. Wherever he went, even the moisture in the air was condensed into ice. With a flick of the dragon's tail, there was a shocking explosion in the sky. One head hit the mini planet in the sky. Boom! In everyone's shocked eyes, the heavy planet was instantly penetrated by the ice dragon. The ice dragon seemed to be demonstrating, swinging its head and let out a dragon chant to heaven. The whole body burst into icy flowers all over the sky, slowly falling from the sky. A huge icicle spans the sky and the earth. Like a giant in the sky, the planetary devastation is completely frozen in the air. It's like an insect wrapped in pine oil, and can no longer release a trace of power. Seeing this scene, Tiandao's eyes instantly widened to the limit. His face was full of unbelievable color. Impossible. This is Rinnegan's strongest ability, and Sage of Six Paths used this trick to create the moon. Even his own power is far inferior to Sage of Six Paths. It shouldn't be taken to the ice to freeze. There is absolutely something wrong. Conan looked at the icicles that lifted the planetary devastation, and his face was shocked. A small mouth was so big that he didn't even notice the cold sweat from his forehead slipping onto his nose. Planetary devastation. Dot was frozen. Is this an illusion? Even Kakuzu's face was full of shock. He guessed that Muyun should be able to resolve this attack, but he didn't expect it to be so easy. Just the point of the knife, everything in the world freezes instantly. Is this the power of God? Muyun ignored the surprised gazes of other people and waved a long knife in his hand. The towering icicles across the sky and the earth burst from the bottom in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. Successive explosions sounded instantly, spreading upwards rapidly from the bottom of the icicle. Even planetary devastation exploded in an instant. Ice crystals filled the sky, slowly falling from the sky. It was as if there was a heavy snowfall in the whole world. It's just a black hole made with chakra. If Sage of Six Paths uses this trick, it might still be a little threatening. The blade turned, and the sharp blade light instantly cut the road of hell in half. As soon as Tiandao Pain wanted to make a move, the sharp tip of the knife had penetrated the center of his eyebrows. Frozen it instantly into an ice statue. The long knife shook, and instantly shattered it into ice all over the ground. Muyun's Sharingan turned slightly, and instantly looked in a distant direction. As the body there, Pen Six Paths are just 6 powerful puppets made by Nagato with Rinnegan's abilities. Their actions depend on the black rods implanted in their bodies to accept Nagato's chakra. In this way, you can remotely control Six Paths Pen. It is much more convenient than ordinary puppets, and the distance that can be manipulated is much longer. However, there are always distance limitations in this way. Under Muyun's perception, his location was easily determined. The whole figure disappeared in the same place instantly. Seeing Muyun's figure disappear, Conan was shocked. Which direction is Nagato's direction? Impossible. How can he perceive Nagato's chakra? He stood up from the ground with strong support, and called the only remaining chakra in his body to form origami wings. Shaky and chased in the direction he left. After she also left, Kakuzu's figure emerged from the ice crystals all over the floor. Looking at the frozen earth, a wry smile appeared. With him on the ground, it is destined to not be peaceful. This was the case during the Sengoku period, and now this age does not know what it will be like because of his appearance. However, there was some expectation in his heart. He has lived for more than 80 years, and has long been tired of peaceful days. Whether it is the task of the Underground Gold Exchange or the Akatsuki organization. It's just killing time. It's not bad to witness the reappearance of a legend. Sasori also slowly walked among the ice on the ground, reaching out to take the ice falling from the sky. There is a thick layer of ice on his red hair. It's like flying snow on a volcano. An imperceptible smile gradually spread on his face. Muyun's attack was full of artistic flavor in his view. Brought him a new artistic inspiration. I believe that after going back this time, he should be able to make even more powerful puppets. Loquat Juzo had difficulty holding the beheading knife in his hand. The metal sword, under the erosion of the cold, is icy cold to the bone. Just holding it, I felt a pain in my palm. Looking at the inexplicable expressions on their faces, a weird thought emerged in their hearts. These two people, are you stupid? What is the energy of giggling in this icy world? Among a huge boulder camouflaged by many papers. Nagato was sitting in a characteristic wheelchair, panting hard with his head down. The cold sweat oozing from his forehead has soaked the ground. Among them, there are also several dazzling bloodline. His chakra has been almost exhausted, and now it is extremely difficult to raise his hand. In addition, Pen's 6 paths was completely destroyed, and now he has no ability to resist. At this moment, a sharp knife light instantly tore the disguised boulder. The rising sword energy cut off a few strands of his hair that had turned white because of chakra's overdraft. There was no tension on Nagato's face, but he slowly raised his head and looked at Uchiha Muyun in front of him seriously. The black hair was flying freely, and the long knife in his hand gleamed with the cold light. A pair of scarlet Sharingans seemed to contain a sea of corpses and blood, which made people afraid to look directly. When observing through Pen's 6 paths, he didn't feel it, but what he saw with his own eyes was shocking in his heart. It deserves to be the strongest Uchiha in the Sengoku period. He can beat my Rinnegan just with a sword. Nagato raised his hands laboriously, staring at the pale outside. This world is full of too much darkness, Akatsuki's purpose is. Before he could finish speaking, a cold light pierced his forehead instantly. Even if he was ready to die, he couldn't help but jump in his heart. In the pair of Sharingan, it seemed to see endless bones lying weakly on the ground. That is, the breath of death. Both eyes widened to the limit in an instant, and the pupils in them shrank severely. The tip of the knife steadily stopped in front of his eyes, only a few minutes before it could pierce the center of his brow. The sharp blade has already made him feel a sting. The whole person let out a cold sweat. Originally, he thought he was ready for death, but he didn't expect that when death really came, he was also afraid. Even the look in his eyes gradually became dim. There is no expression on Muyun's face, but there is still a trace of anger in his heart. For so many years, he has always been troubled by others. When did the trouble dare to find his head? He was not interested in listening to Nagato's account of Akatsuki's purpose. The entire Akatsuki organization had no purpose for him. As for Nagato itself, he knows better than himself. All he did was just because he was guilty of Yahiko. What dream? In the darkness, staring at the light. Those are the reasons for the weak to find. The real strong do not need any reason. Surrender, or die. After hearing Muyun's emotionless words, Nagato instantly raised his head. The face is full of anger to ultimate distortion. This guy didn't understand everything he did. What Akatsuki is doing is the real path to peace. I just tried to refute, but saw Muyun frown slightly. A kind of ultimate killing intent was faintly revealed in his eyes, just staring at him. There was a sting in both eyes. Now he finally understands that Muyun doesn't care about him at all. Surrender and live, or die. All he wanted was an answer. However, after experiencing the dying moment just now, he was a little shaken. At this moment, Conan suddenly rushed in. A small face was full of tears, and the expression was full of panic. Nagato, Yahiko is dead. Just a word, but it blasted in Nagato's mind like a thunder. Back then, he and Conan Yahiko, 3 war orphans, got together and took pictures of each other. It's as close as a family. But after Yahiko's death, he has been living in his own guilt. Always thinking of Yahiko who died, but turning a blind eye to Conan who was always by his side. Even let her live with her in sad memories. I don't know how long it has been since I saw Conan's smiling face. Nagato slowly raised his head and stared at Conan, whose face was full of tears. The corner of his mouth pulled out a forced smile. For so many years, I have wronged you. After hearing Nagato's words, Conan was taken aback for a moment. Seeing the smile at the corner of his mouth, tears filled his eyes instantly. Asshole. Nagato smiled slightly, turned his head and said calmly. I surrender. Since Yahiko's death, Nagato has regarded Yahiko's dream as the meaning of his life. Living in painful memories all day. Conan, who was by his side, had already been selectively ignored by him. After the life and death crisis just now, Conan reminded him that he instantly understood. The deceased has passed away, even if he is trapped in pain forever, it is irreversible. Moreover, even Yahiko, who is in the Pure Land, should not want to see him and Conan now. Yahiko's sacrifice is not to let him live in guilt for a lifetime, but to let him speak well. Figured this out, everything Conan has done for him over the years. It appeared in front of my eyes like a slide in an instant. Holding his crippled legs with his bare hands, he left the battlefield with Yahiko's body on his back. After that, he was carefully taken care of and a special wheelchair was made. Let him restore the ability of action to the greatest possible extent. The more I think about it, the more I feel I owe Conan. Seeing her face full of tears, there was a pain in her heart. 5 inexplicable words suddenly appeared in his mind. Cherish the people in front of you. Don't cry, the country of rain has been raining all year round, add your tears, and then flood our village. Hearing Nagato's awkward sneer, Conan finally broke into a smile. On the face still with tears, a smile finally bloomed again. Nagato finally came out of the memory of Yahiko's death. Muyun retracted the long knife in his hand to his waist and glanced at Conan, who was crying and laughing. He thought that Nagato would swear to death. The knife in his hand was about to fall. Unexpectedly, Conan's tears were as powerful as Naruto's mouth. Can Nagato come out of his memories? Really? However, since Nagato has chosen to surrender, it means that Akatsuki is also his power. As for what to let him do, let's talk about it later. Now, the main purpose is Lesson Obito. In the Scarlet Sharingan, 3 Guis spun quickly. It quickly changed into Mangekyo's appearance. Because Muyun only absorbed the pupil power of one eye, he has always had the power of Kamui since then. The other one is still Mangekyo from Uchiha Itachi. The pupil power gushed out, and the surrounding space instantly twisted into this Sharingan. In the surprised eyes of Nagato and Conan, his own body was absorbed in an instant. This is Madara's Mangekyo ability, right? Nagato said in surprise. Conan also nodded blankly. Uchiha Muyun, wouldn't he have killed Madara and took his eyes? Hiss. As expected to be the strongest Uchiha in the Sengoku era, the current ninja, I am afraid that no one can compete with him. Nagato, what are your plans for the future? Seeing the worried look on Conan's face, he instantly understood it. This girl, I'm still afraid that I'm stubborn. Looking at the dry tears on her face, a happy smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. I am still not suitable to be a leader. To achieve the grand goal of ninja peace, let Uchiha Muyun, an old monster from the Sengoku period, let us to achieve it. By the way, I want to make up for the happiness I owe Conan. ... At the same time, Orochimaru also climbed from the ground. Shen Luo Tianzhong of Heavenly Tao smashed him fiercely on a huge boulder, and the whole person was deeply trapped in it. The robe on his body was already in tatters. However, the body replacement technique that he developed by himself can defend most of the body technique attacks. Now it just feels a little pain, and there is not much reaction. Muyun and Pain Six Paths battle, he saw everything in his eyes. Whenever he felt that the strength displayed by Muyun was all, he refreshed his cognition again. Looking at the ice and snow world in front of him, he finally realized a word clearly. There is no strongest, only stronger. The strength of Uchiha Muyun is like a glacier that never ends. All he saw was just the tip of the iceberg showing through the sea. Moreover, those weird ninjutsu, he had never understood. It's probably all lost during the Sengoku period, right? Maybe he can learn more skills with him. It is even possible to perfect the Baki technique again. In the cold snake eyes, the desire for power flashed joyfully. In Rain Shinobi Village, Obito, wearing a whirlpool mask, is sitting on a tall building. He is very concerned about Muyun's strength. If Nagato's Rinnegan can beat him, then there is nothing to be afraid of. However, in case Nagato is not his opponent either, the plan requires some changes. Project Tsuki no Mi, he is absolutely not allowed to have such variables. At this moment, something like a Venus flytrap slowly emerged from behind him. Alfie, Nagato took all the members out, is that guy really that strong? White Zetsu said jokingly, I heard that he almost killed you. Black Zetsu on the other side also spoke coldly, and his voice was full of strong malice. Speaking does not leave Obito with the slightest affection. It's just the Amaterasu Black Flame, just to restrain my Kamui. However, he must not be Rinnegan's opponent. Only Nagato is still under my control, so he shouldn't be afraid. In Obito's Scarlet Sharingan, a ray of hatred suddenly flashed. As long as Nagato can defeat Uchiha Muyun, use his power to collect tail beasts. When he was useless, he was killing him. The feeling that the skin, muscles and bones, and even the soul were burning, made him never forget. The hatred in my heart never weakened. It's even increasing day by day. White Zetsu spread out his hands with a helpless expression on his face. In short, Project Tasuki no Mi is going to speed up a bit. Now the entire ninja world is in chaos. It is a good opportunity to collect tail beasts. Because of the appearance of Uchiha Muyun, the entire ninja world is very turbulent. Especially Konoha, Cloud Shinobi's army has already attacked the Valley of End. The two sides have been facing each other for more than 10 days. The tail beast collection plan is indeed about to begin. At this moment, the space in front of him suddenly twisted. A figure slowly walked out of Kamui. Obito, you were really hard to find. At the moment when the space in front of him was distorted, Obito had already sensed the familiar breath. This kind of pupil power can only be possessed by his Kamui. Could it be that Kakashi discovered his identity? Want to persuade yourself to return to Konoha? It's impossible. Lin's death will always be a thorn in his heart. What's more, it is Konoha's high level and Kakashi who caused all this, as well as those fools from Kurigakure, Water Country. Had Konoha's executives assigned Namikaze Minato to perform other tasks, how could Lin be captured by Kurigakure's ninjas? She also implanted 3 tails in her body, preparing to destroy Konoha. Kakashi got his own eyes, but failed to protect Lin, and he was not qualified to persuade himself. Not killing him is already a great kindness. Obito stared at the distorted space, and enough chakra had been condensed in the Scarlet Sharingan. He was about to cast an illusion on Kakashi the moment he appeared. Let him realize that without Uchiha's blood, even with Sharingan, he can't maximize his strength. At this moment, a dull voice came to his ears instantly. Obito, you can make me easy to find. Hearing this flat voice, Obito's eyes widened in an instant. The other 3 Go-Jade under the mask was as big as it could be. You are Uchiha Muyun. After seeing the appearance of the visitor clearly, his skin felt a faint burning pain, as if burned by flames. The black flame that can't be extinguished gave him a deep impression. The pain went deep into the soul, and the moment I saw his sword again, I revisited it. The face under his mask was a little distorted. Who? Uchiha Muyun. White Zetsu screamed behind the 2 of them, and stepped back gradually. Especially the other half of Black Zetsu, the expression on his face is even more exciting. Full of fear and fear. He is the last child of Otsutsuki Kagaya, who has survived in the ninja world for thousands of years. During the Sengoku period, he also wanted to lure Senju Hashirama into a battle with Uchiha Madara. Take this opportunity to make Madara the Jinchuriki of 10 tails and bring Kagaya back to life. However, it is because Muyun is too strong. Under his pressure, the 2 of them joined forces to confront each other. After the Battle of End Valley, Madara only obtained Hashirama's cells. Rinnegan was turned on when he was dying, and Geto statue was summoned. At that time, his body was too old to be 10 tails Jinchuriki. Can only lurch down, looking for the next reincarnation of Indra and Ashura. All this is thanks to Muyun. Otherwise, in Madara's time, he would have brought Kagaya back to life. Seeing Muyun again, Black Zetsu's heart was both angry and frightened. Especially when I saw the long knife on his waist, I almost got out of White Zetsu's body in fright. That thing can kill the soul. Even if he was slashed by that knife, he would still be injured. Even death. He didn't want to take this kind of danger. As soon as he moved, he saw a cold light flashing in front of him. There was a pain in the waist, and the whole face was instantly pressed to the ground. His toes are just beside his mouth. Had it not been for the function of cold sweat, he would have had a cold sweat. It instantly turned into a black shadow and got into the building. As for White Zetsu, die or die. There are hundreds of thousands. Muyun retracted the knife back to its sheath, turned his head slightly and glanced at Black Zetsu. This guy is also a trouble, and I have to clean up together if I have time in the future. Obito at this time was even more terrified. That knife, he had heard Madara mention it, can kill the soul. Even if he could escape the black flame, he couldn't escape the long knife in his hand. What's more, if he can use Kamui, it means he has taken away Kakashi's eyes. There is no use at all to hide in time and space. The only way is illusion. According to common sense, even if Uchiha started Sharingan's tribe, not necessarily all Grandmaster illusions. Moreover, Uchiha Muyun's melee strength is so strong, illusion is impossible and very strong. Single-minded and precise, this truth will never be outdated. And there are many white Zetsu cells in his body, and the side effects of Sharingan are almost non-existent for him. It can even control 9 tails. Regarding illusion, he was out of Shisui's eyes and was not afraid of anyone. Thinking of this, the chakra in the body quickly gathered around the eyes. The shape of the dart in the pupil, turning quickly. Sharingan, invisible fluctuations come instantly. At the same time, Muyun Sharingan instantly became more profound. Like a bottomless abyss, it instantly absorbed his pupil power. Tsukuyomi Abyss. There was a bang, echoing in Obito's mind. Obito opened his eyes again and saw the surroundings. A Sharingan stared in horror. What is this place? His body is falling rapidly. It seems to be in an underground cave. There are countless corpses inlaid on the cliff next to it. With a hideous face, a pair of hollow eyes staring at him tightly. It made him feel chills in his body, as if even the blood in his body had solidified. There is also a strong fishy smell that constantly penetrates into his mouth and nose. It made him nauseous. This kind of hellish scene made him scream of horror in an instant. However, all he could hear was the echo of his own voice. At this time, Obito was completely stunned. The mask on his face had already fallen to the ground. Both Sharingan have become pure black. There is not the slightest look in it. This is Muyun's modified illusion based on Tsukuyomi and drunken dreams. Named the Abyss. Once caught in this illusion, you will be in the bottomless abyss and fall continuously. Never reach the end. Similar to Izanami, but different from Izanami. Izanami is to make people recognize themselves and be able to escape from illusion. The abyss contains Muyun's will. Only by agreeing with his will can he escape from illusion. When he can break free from the illusion, he will become Muyun's new subordinate. Kamui activated, and instantly sucked Obito's body into time and space. Muyun's figure also disappeared one after another. Cloud Shinobi Village. In Reikage's office. At this time, it was a critical moment of the confrontation between Cloud Shinobi and Konoha. Numerous communication ninjas continued to enter Reikage's office and hand over the battle reports on the battlefield to Mabuyi. After more than 10 days of lurking, Cloud Shinobi's large forces have invaded the depths of the Country of Fire. Even the daimyo of the Country of Fire was forced to leave the daimyo mansion. Evacuate to Konoha's rear. Cloud Shinobi and Konoha occupy the two sides of the Valley of End, and have been facing each other for nearly a month. Small-scale battles broke out from time to time, and both sides injured each other. A loud bang suddenly came from Reikage's office. Mabuyi was shocked when he was sorting out the documents. Reikage slammed a fist on the desk. With great power, even the stone desk was cracked. Tsunade, stinky lady, I see how long you can last in the Country of Fire. Seeing the battle report ahead, Reikage's eyebrows were almost erected from his face. Konoha has become so weak that he hasn't captured the Land of Fire yet. What is the power of Tsunade? It can withstand a large number of Cloud Shinobi's elite attacks. There has been a long-standing grievance between the two countries, and the second Hokage of that year died together with Cloud Shinobi's brothers. There are not a few ninjas who died in the hands of the opponent. Now, Konoha is unprecedentedly weak because of Uchiha Muyun. Of course Reikage will not miss this good opportunity. Although Tsunade used to treat injuries to his subordinates, the interests of the country always precede personal preferences. As Reikage, you are naturally responsible for the Country of Thunder. Mabuyi, how is the situation on the battlefield now? Mabuyi quickly sorted out the documents in his hand and reported to Reikage. Now our troops have occupied half of the Land of Fire. As long as the Battle of the End Valley is victorious, we can directly attack Konoha village. The current Konoha is completely supported by the terrain of the Valley of End. In terms of strength, it is not Cloud Shinobi's opponent at all. Even the other three countries did not participate in the siege of Konoha. But they all dispatched some investigative ninjas to watch the battle. Once Konoha finally loses, they must act. This is also where Reikage is a little afraid, preventing too much force in the rear to guard the 3 ninja villages. Otherwise, Konoha would have been unable to support it. Hearing the news reported by Mabuyi, Reikage stood up abruptly and walked out. Not a Phoebe, and you wooden golem, let them lead the Killer Bee squad to the rear to guard against the 3 kingdoms attack, front battlefield, and I will personally supervise the battle. Yes, the huge cloud shinobi is like a war machine. The militant blood made them feel happy when facing the war without the slightest panic. A steady stream of troops is constantly converging in the country of fire. For Konoha, it is bound to win. Konoha village. In Hokage's office, Tsunade, who was sitting in Hokage's office, also had a sad face. Nara Shikagiu was holding the document in her hand, reading the information on it. Master Tsunade, the current situation is very serious. Cloud Shinobi keeps turning to our country and carrying large-scale war weapons. The other 3 countries are also eyeing and spying on our country's territory. If this continues, I am afraid that Konoha will fall within half a month. NS. Although Tsunade is sitting in Hokage's office, he has not yet assumed the position of Hokage. At the time of war, there is no time to stick to these summaries. Now Konoha's high-level combat power is lacking, and Jiraiya fell into a coma after returning. He is still lying in the Konoha hospital for training. On the battlefield, only Jonin from a large family is the main force. Even many Chunin are desperately fighting on the battlefield. However, even so, it is still not an opponent of Cloud Shinobi. Report our country's losses. Naraluji frowned and looked at the file in his hand to report to Tsunade. There were 5 deaths and 17 serious injuries in Jonin, 15 deaths and 32 serious injuries in Chunin. In addition, there is a ninja from the daimyo guard. When the daimyo evacuated, he was killed by wooden golem by 2 Jinchuriki from Cloud Shinobi. Hearing the numbers reported by Nara Shikuhisa, Tsunade felt even more painful. Konoha, the number of ninjas above Genin, is less than 10,000. Among them, Jonin is less than 1/10. Add the loss that Uchiha Muyun brought on the day he woke up. Konoha is now weaker than ever. Even if a Jonin dies, she will feel distressed. What's more, 5 people died at once. Moreover, no real war has broken out yet, and only small-scale frictions have caused such losses. In the real fight, the casualties will be more serious. Where is Cloud Shinobi? Still disagreeing with the negotiations. Naraluju shook her head, her face was also serious. Cloud Shinobi believes that there is no need to negotiate about our country's strength. Sand Shinobi is clear on his own, and has no intention of helping our country for the time being. Tsunade slammed a fist on the table, his whole body trembling slightly with excitement. Sand Shinobi and Konoha have always been allies, and I didn't expect to stand on the sidelines at this time. Isn't it afraid that Cloud Shinobi took the opportunity to attack them together? What's even more hateful is that Reikage, the reckless man, took this opportunity to attack Konoha. That man named Uchiha Muyun is the real crisis in the ninja world. However, no one wants to hear Konoha's explanation now. All Shinobu villages believed that Uchiha Muyun attacked Konoha because Konoha's family sealed him. This time, it was purely for revenge. This matter has nothing to do with the other 4 major countries. He even blamed Konoha for releasing such a monster from the seal. For a time, Konoha village was almost isolated by the entire ninja world. Master Tsunade, what should we do now? Tsunade was spread out on the chair, feeling a deep sense of powerlessness in his heart. First, transfer Genin and the villagers secretly to the Vortex country. If you can't resist it, you can only use the forbidden technique. Impure world reincarnation. It can summon the dead from the Pure Land and possess the forbidden technique of the undead. Konoha was attacked because of insufficient high-level combat power. With this ninjutsu, Konoha can survive this crisis perfectly. However, this forbidden technique will blaspheme the deceased ancestors and use living people as sacrifices. Not only is it a last resort, it must not be shared. The country of rain. A woman holding a bamboo umbrella came to the battlefield where Muyun played against Six Paths Pain. The rain in the sky made the woman's face a little fuzzy. However, even if she was wearing a very generous robe, she still couldn't hide her bumpy figure. It seems that it is full of luxurious and noble temperament. Behind her, there were Wanyun, Yingxie, and Nanli, who followed inseparably. Each person's arm is tied with a ribbon painted with the Uchiha clan emblem. It looks very conspicuous. The woman walked slowly in the light rain, staring at every inch of the ground on the ground. To be precise, he was watching the ice covered on the ground. Even if it was washed by the continuous light rain, there was no trace of melting. The three people following her were winking at each other and whispering. "Boss, what is the relationship between Master Luli and that Uchiha Muyun? How come we rushed to the country of rain to investigate when we heard about him?" Yingxie dragged her chin, her face full of thought. "I don't understand Master Luli's thoughts at all. You ask me, who am I going to ask? The information shows that Uchiha Muyun is the strongest Uchiha who has awakened from the Sengoku era, but our Master Luli is in his youth. It stands to reason that there can be no relationship." Wan Jia was also full of doubts, and his eyes were filled with puzzled expressions. "It's not easy." Nan Li glanced at them contemptuously and said in a very confirming tone. The adult must like the knife in his hand, so he came to grab the knife. As soon as he finished speaking, Wanyun and Yingxie looked at him with foolish eyes. Only this kind of simple-minded people with well-developed limbs can come to this conclusion. Everyone can tell that Master Luli cares about that person, not the knife. Yingxie turned Byakugan at him, too lazy to care about him. At this moment, Luli, who had been in the ice and snow for a long time, suddenly spoke. "Fanyun, where did they go after that?" Between her mouth, a clear and pleasant voice came from her mouth. "It's not as serious as when I usually scold them." At first, the three of them were a little uncomfortable, and then they gradually got used to it. Master Luli, according to intelligence, Uchiha Muyun seemed to resolve the conflict after fighting with the people of Akatsuki's organization. After a brief conversation, the two sides left. Akatsuki returned to Rain Shinobi Village again, but Uchiha Muyun and Orochimaru went to Sunagakure. Luli glanced at her eyebrows slightly after hearing this. "Sand Shinobi, is it looking for that old guy? Go to Sunagakure." After speaking, Luli took the lead. The three people behind also hurriedly followed. Yingxie looked at Luli with an anxious look, looked down at her toes, and muttered softly. "How do I feel that Master Luli is looking for her husband in 1,000 miles? Wan Yan quickly covered her mouth, a nervous expression on his face. "Hush, you will die on your broken mouth sooner or later, let Master Luli hear it, just wait for luck." Yingxie stuck out her tongue cutely and lowered her head. "Follow the footsteps of a few people to the Kingdom of Wind. The Country of Wind, Sunagakure. Among the 5 ninja countries, the land area of the Land of the Wind and the land is the largest. However, the geographical location of the Kingdom of Wind is very poor. 90% of the land area is deserts and hills. There is almost no green in sight. The climate is also dominated by wind and sand. The sandstorm is raging and the road is difficult. It's very difficult to get business. The Country of Wind, among the 5 major countries, is relatively poor. However, 4th Kazekage Luasha's magnet style can control sand gold. The buried gold can be found in the boundless sea of sand. In this way, Sunagakure's current economic situation is not bad at all. In addition to the harsh environment, the strength should not be underestimated. At this time, Uchiha Muyun and Orochimaru are walking among the yellow sand in the sky. The violent wind and sand almost obscured the vision in front of him. However, their feet stepped on the fine yellow sand, leaving only shallow traces. When blown by the wind and sand, it disappeared instantly. While walking, Orochimaru's gaze would occasionally glance in Muyun's direction. In a pair of snake pupils, Shanyu had a complicated look. He has followed Muyun since he went to Mount Zumi. During this time, he has been observing Muyun in secret. At the beginning, he still wanted to take the opportunity to seize his body with living corpse reincarnation technique. After seeing the power of Muyun, this idea was completely dispelled by Orochimaru. It is replaced by deep fear. Still curious, from the humble peak of Mount Zumi to the Akatsuki organization in the Country of Rain, Uchiha Muyun is just taking back the power that belongs to him. As for his purpose afterwards, just like him, full of mysteries. Orochimaru couldn't help but want to personally witness the road after him. Unconsciously substituting himself into the subordinate role. As for his change, Muyun didn't care at all. Your own power is the root, and other forces are just a means to make things more convenient for him. Orochimaru was nothing more than the guide he encountered while searching for power. It doesn't matter. After a while, Muyun stopped. Not far in front, the building of Sunagakure can be vaguely seen. Going further, you are within the warning range. Seeing Muyun's footsteps stopped, Orochimaru stepped forward knowingly. Senhan's eyes bloomed from a pair of snake pupils. Hiss! Several lion majesty, drilled out of his sleeves. Falling on the yellow sand, quickly swim forward. After a while, I heard a few dull noises. The Anbu that Sunagakure was placed in the surrounding area has been quietly resolved. Orochimaru sneered and followed Muyun's footsteps to the cliff. Overlooking the entire Sunagakure, the buildings in the whole village are earth-yellow round houses to better defend against wind and sand. Only the back mountain can faintly see a dazzling bright color under the sunlight. That is the only waterfall in Sunagakure, where the old lady Chio lives in seclusion. After Orochimaru noticed Muyun's gaze, he actively explained. Looking at the waterfall from afar, Muyun also flashed a reminiscence in his eyes. Chio, I remember when he was still a kid hiding behind his father. Now, it is estimated that you are already very old. The grandmother Chiandai is Sunagakure's superb puppet master, and can manipulate all puppets freely with just one hand. At the same time, she is also a top-notch medical ninja. During the Second Ninja World War, Chio went to the battlefield with penultimate's medical ninjutsu and puppet skills. Even the poison of Hanzo of the Salamander was solved in front of her. However, all the poisons she used to deal with Konoha were also cracked by Tsunade. It was this battle that identified the name of Tsunade's legendary medical ninja. After that, the ninja world was calm again, and she avoided Sunagakure's power center by pretending to be dead. He lives in seclusion with his younger brother Ebizo by the waterfall behind the village. He never asked about everything in the village. Today, as usual, Chio once again came to the river to fish with a fishing rod and basket. After throwing the bait into the water, he sits motionless on the shore. Had it not been for a few snoring sounds from time to time, it would have been like death. At this moment, a figure appeared behind her instantly. Orochimaru's mouth showed a smirk and stretched one hand forward. A lion majesty burst out of his sleeve in an instant, biting him fiercely on Chio's neck. The sharp fangs pierced the skin of her neck instantly and injected the venom into it. Chiandai's old eyes opened instantly, and his face was full of painful colors of snake venom in his body. He grabbed Lion Majesty on his neck, turned his head and shouted sharply. Orochimaru, you dare to shoot at me? A vicious smile appeared on Orochimaru's face again. An old guy like you who can't even walk, or is it no different from death? Shulking snake hand. The bigger Lion Majesty instantly tore Chio's body into countless pieces. However, there was not a drop of blood flowing out. Only the tattered sawdust was flying all over the sky. Orochimaru's pupils shrank sharply in an instant. Puppet. At this moment, two wooden puppets appeared on his left and right sides instantly. In his surprised gaze, the sharp knife in his hand was fiercely inserted into his body. Puff. The bright red blood splashed all over the floor in an instant. Orochimaru's pupils shrank, and his whole body instantly fell to the ground. Chio appeared on a boulder next to him instantly. Tugging with one hand, the two puppets returned to him again. Young people should pay attention to proportion when speaking. Don't you know that ginger is still hot? At this moment, the dead body of Orochimaru suddenly cracked. As if a python shed its skin, Orochimaru slowly crawled out of the gap in the corpse. His whole body was covered with disgusting mucus. Seeing this weird scene, Chio couldn't help being stunned. A dignified color was also revealed in the old eyes. Orochimaru, what kind of monster did you transform yourself into? Chio has been ignoring Sunagakure for too long, and the intelligence of other countries knows even less. In her eyes, Orochimaru is still the child who has just made a name for himself on the battlefield. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be as weird as a monster now. Simply, like a sinister Lion Majesty. It doesn't matter what kind of monster I am. I am just a guide today. I just saw my old friend and couldn't help but say hello. Orochimaru sneered a few times, and stepped back in Chio's vigilant sight. Chio's brows furrowed deeply, and the vigilance in his eyes did not relax at all. To allow Orochimaru to lead the way, the identity of this person must be extraordinary. However, she couldn't remember anyone who could sneak into Sunagakure and find herself. She is just an old lady who doesn't know anything about the world. Except for playing with puppets a few times, it has no value at all. It shouldn't be because of Sunagakure. At this moment, a calm voice suddenly sounded from behind her. Chio, long time no see. Instantly surprised her. Someone could come behind him silently. Is Konoha's master. Pulling with one hand, the chakra thread on the fingertips was tight, controlling the two puppets to attack behind him. But she herself suddenly jumped forward and turned her head back in an instant. In the next second, her eyes suddenly widened to their maximum. An old face was full of horror. Quickly pulled the chakra silk thread, and the two puppets were about to come into contact with Muyun for a while. She was dragged aside in an instant, and fell to the ground and smashed to pieces. You are. Chio's eyes opened wider and wider, as if he had seen something impossible. The expression is full of complex and indistinguishable emotions. Why are you dim-eyed? Muyun said these words calmly, but he sighed in his heart. When Chio's father met him, he fought himself with puppet art. However, the puppetry at that time had just started, and it was far from perfect as it is now. Also out of curiosity, I pointed out many problems in the mechanism and manipulation at that time. The father of the 1,000 generations is willing to follow himself if he gets the treasure. Later, his puppet skills advanced by leaps and bounds, and he carried forward the profession of puppet master. At that time, Chio was just a small thing. Now the old one can't recognize it anymore. These 60 years have passed, but I have not felt it at all because of the seal. I woke up again, but it was all right and wrong. The hatred in my heart towards Senju Tobirama and others is even deeper. Those savvy guys must summon them from the Pure Land. Use Hiranmaru to freeze for thousands of years. At the moment he thought about it, Chio finally eased a little from the shock. However, his face did not have the slightest excitement of meeting an old friend. Instead, it revealed a kind of fear and hatred. Uchiha Muyun, I didn't expect you to come out. Old eyes stared at Muyun tightly, as if afraid he would run away. Waved out a scroll and injected chakra into it. White smoke suddenly appeared, and 10 puppets instantly appeared in the air. White secret skill, 10 people near song. 10 chakra silk threads can instantly control all 10 puppets. There was a weird clicking sound as the joints moved. You, a monster in the cholera world, shouldn't come out at all. Although Chio's face was full of anger, there was deep fear in his eyes. Even a pair of old palms trembled slightly. He didn't dare to shoot at all. Chapter 31. Chio's old face showed extremely complicated emotions. There is an unforgettable hatred, and a strong fear. Even, it also implies a little nostalgia. Seeing her, Muyun frowned slightly. At that time, Chio's father was his own subordinate. But because he pointed out the puppet problem to him, it helped him to get one step closer on the basis of puppet art. The relationship between the two can be said to be both teachers and friends, and one of the most loyal subordinates. Even Chio as a child often went to the Uchiha clan to find his father. In the past 60 years, I don't know what has gone through, and I will hate myself. With a movement of his wrist, Hiranmaru on his waist came out of his body in an instant. A strong cold air swept out in an instant. A thin layer of frost condensed on the surface of the water next to it at a speed visible to the naked eye. Many fish lurking in the water were invaded by the cold air, and they were frozen the moment they jumped out of the water. Even on the 10 puppets that Chio took out, there was a layer of frost gradually climbing up. The wooden puppet creaked and froze. Chio's pupils shrank severely, and the whole person couldn't help backing back a few moments. The whole body was trembling slightly, and even the chakra thread on the fingertips kept trembling. Seeing the war knife again, she suddenly remembered her childhood memories. At that time, he was only 4 or 5 years old, and one day he went to the Uchiha clan to find his father. It was discovered that Uchiha Muyun was confronting another Uchiha tribe. That person is his brother. However, his relationship with his brother is not good. I think that Uchiha Muyun's power is too weird, it is simply an alternative that shouldn't exist. Always advocated expelling Muyun from the Uchiha clan. The contradiction between the two of them had been grieving for a long time, and finally broke out on that day. When his younger brother was about to attack him, Muyun didn't ask any reason at all. He just pulled out the long knife from his waist and said a little. All those who dare to point at me with the tip of a knife are my enemies. Faced with enemies, I won't keep the slightest hand. The impact of the scene at that time on Chio was immense. Even though she was only 4 or 5 years old, even if 50 or 60 years have passed, the scene at that time was very clearly reflected in my mind. And how similar is the current scene to then? For Muyun, who has been sealed for 60 years, he doesn't even know what happened in the past few decades. I don't know why Chio is full of hatred towards him. However, it's just the same. No matter what reason you use, just treat him as an enemy. Must bear the corresponding price. That is, death. Seeing Muyun's plain eyes, Chio's heart trembled fiercely. The chakra thread in his hand was broken every inch, and 10 puppets instantly fell from the air. Boom, boom. 10 puppets smashed to the ground in strange shapes, and broken ice and sawdust were flying in all directions. Chio's old body also sat on the ground, even his hands trembling. Only then did she realize that her back had been soaked in cold sweat. There was no hatred in my heart long ago, and it was all filled with ultimate fear. Just now, she almost died. Orochimaru's eyes lit up, and his eyes were full of approval when he looked at Muyun. For the enemy, there is no need to say anything at all. As long as you kill all the enemies, there will naturally be no more enemies in the world. With a few sneers, a pair of snake pupils looked at Chio, who was trembling all over. Chio, you'd better tell what you know, otherwise your old bones will have to explain this here. As he said, a python appeared in the cuff again, hung in the air and swallowed the scarlet snake letter to her. Muyun also retracted Hiranmaru to his waist and sat on the rock beside him casually. Chio, what happened after I was sealed? During the Sengoku period, everyone was a family unit. As long as they don't belong to their own family, they can become enemies. Muyun was the first person who didn't pay much attention to his family, and only valued the abilities of his subordinates. And his subordinates, there is no Uchiha tribe. This approach was not accepted by the big family at all. Even in Uchiha, many people oppose his approach. But he still did the same, completely ignoring the opposition of others, treating his subordinates like brothers. This approach also made his subordinates loyal to him. However, in the 60 years since he was sealed, no one has ever released his seal. This is obviously unreasonable. After hearing his words, Chio also let out a long sigh. Back then, when many families besieged you, my father and your other men had already rushed to the battlefield but were ambushed on the way. The Yaoi clan and the Ghost Lantern clan joined forces to gather many powerful people from the small clan to stop my father and the others. There are so many people and there are not a few masters, so there is no time to support them. Chio's old eyes turned red in an instant, as if he had recalled something painful. After that, my father returned home with injuries and was about to take his mother and younger brother into hiding, but was bloody cleansed by Senju Tobirama and Uchiha Madara. In the end, only my younger brother and I survived. 2 drops of turbid tears fell from her eyes. She still remembers the desperate look in her mother's eyes before she died. In order to let her and younger brother escape, her father was torn to pieces by Senju Tobirama's water dragon bomb. The blood stained the whole ground blood red. That scene became a nightmare that she would never get rid of. After that, various ninja villages were established one after another. She joined Sunagakure by virtue of her excellent puppetry. The relationship between Sand Shinobi and Konoha was allocated, and several wars broke out between the two countries. The purpose is for revenge. After that, because Konoha's strength was too strong, the previous enemies also died one after another. The frustrated Chio took his younger brother to live in seclusion together, wanting to spend his old age with peace of mind. After saying this, Chio seemed to have let go of the big stone in his heart. I really feel a lot easier. However, there is always a lingering resentment in my heart. After all, she failed to avenge her parents. Orochimaru on the side was taken aback after listening to her story. Unexpectedly, this old woman who gave Konoha a headache during the Second Ninja World War would have such a story. In Konoha's history, no relevant information has been found for a long time. It is estimated that only these old guys who have lived long enough can know some of the truth of the year. The thin ice on the river slowly merged under the sunlight. The small fish frozen on the ice fell back into the river with a plop. The fish's tail swung and disappeared in a blink of an eye. In the face of Mu-yun, Chio retells the secret that has been hidden in his heart for many years. The whole person seemed a lot more relaxed. Sit down on the rock next to him, looking at the waterfall in the distance in a daze. Orochimaru on the side is also deeply touched. If it weren't for the White Snake Fairy, he knew the truth of the matter. I am afraid that he is still kept in the dark. After all, Konoha's role in it was not glorious. The 4 major families joined forces to besiege Mu-yun and slaughtered all his family members. This is completely inconsistent with the bright image Konoha has always promoted. Related records have long been erased by senior officials such as Senju Tobirama. Even in the entire ninja world, it is estimated that there are only these old guys who have lived long enough in order to know a little bit of the truth of the year. For a while, Orochimaru's hatred for Konoha grew stronger. This group of decent guys should have disappeared long ago. A pair of snake pupils stared closely at Mu-yun's body, full of curiosity about his next actions. At this moment, Uchiha Mu-yun stood up. There was no expression on his face, and no mood swings could be heard in his voice. Just asked Chio in a flat tone. How much do you know about the power of my being sealed? 60 years is enough to change too many things. Those enemies of the year have already died and will never appear in the shinobi world again. However, their souls are living well in the Pure Land. This is something Mu-yun doesn't want to see. Just regain your strength back then and restore your peak strength. And absorb the chakra of Indra and Ashura, and go one step further. Evolve his eternal Mangekyo to Rinnegan. Then they can forcibly summon their souls back to the ninja world. Use Hirenmaru to freeze forever. As long as it's an enemy, he won't have any hands left. Even the soul of the enemy is the same. After listening to Mu-yun's words, Chio's eyes recovered a little. Recalling the painful memories of that year made her mentally exhausted. Now, I can't bring up a trace of spirit. I only know that Senju Hashirama disappeared for a while after the end of your war. It should have sealed part of your power. As for where the seal is, no one knows. Mu-yun frowned. Disappeared for a while. This answer is too general. With the strength of Hashirama, he can run all over the ninja world. It is still not clear where his power is sealed. It may be the hometown of the Vortex clan, the Ushio ninja village. It could also be anywhere in the ninja world. It's even possible in the depths of the sea. Just knowing this news, even Mu-yun couldn't think of where he would seal his power. Seeing Chio looking a little depressed, Orochimaru said suddenly, "If you want to avenge your parents, now is the best time." Hearing Orochimaru's words, Chio looked up instantly. A pair of old eyes fixed on Orochimaru's body closely. I don't understand what he meant at all. She and her brother Ebizo have lived in seclusion for too long, and they have not interfered with anything outside. The source of intelligence is very slow, and even Mu-yun's breach of the seal is not clear. The impression of Konoha is still in the past. There are many masters in each major family, and their strength is very strong. Even if Sand Shinobi attacks Konoha, there is no chance of victory. Seeing the doubt on her face, Orochimaru's mouth showed a sinister smile. When Mu-yun awakened, he killed a large part of Konoha's high-level leaders. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen was killed in battle. His current strength is very weak. At this time, attacking Konoha has a great chance of winning. His ancestors, even his parents, died at the hands of Konoha shinobi. There is also a deep hatred for Konoha. And when Chio saw his parents die in Senju Tobirama's hands, his hatred for Konoha grew deeper. If she can be encouraged to attack Konoha, rely on Sunagakure's current power. There is a great chance of success. Chio's eyes lit up, and he instantly looked at Mu-yun, who was thinking aside. Unexpectedly, he did what he wanted to do but couldn't do just after he woke up. As expected, he is a strong Sengoku who even his father is willing to follow. However, the peace between Sand Shinobi and Konoha has been maintained for a long time. 4th Kazekage Luo Sha may not agree to attack Konoha at this time. Just when she hesitated, Orochimaru added another fire. As for 4th Kazekage that you are worried about, I can help you get rid of him. Orochimaru's face was filled with a sinister smile, and a pair of snake eyes flashed with joy. Put aside his own hatred of Konoha. There is definitely no coexistence between Uchiha Muyun and Konoha. And Muyun's strength is too strong, and he can't be used to make shots in general. If you want to get strength from him, you must reflect your own value. Luring Sand Shinobi to attack Konoha is a very good move in Orochimaru's view. It can not only destroy the nasty Konoha, but also reflect his own value in Muyun's heart. Kill two birds with one stone. And Orochimaru's own forces, if there are thousands of generations to secretly help. If you want to kill Luo Sha, there is still a chance. At that time, the consultant Chio is the true controller of Sunagakure. Leading the entire Sand Shinobi to attack can completely make Konoha disappear from the ninja world. At this time, Muyun had already thought about everything he could think of. Still can't guess where Hashirama will seal his power. The only way now is to find someone who really knows the situation. However, the Senju clan has disappeared in the ninja world for a long time. The Vortex clan was also annihilated. The only person who may know the inside story is one person. Princess of the Senju family, granddaughter of Hashirama. Tsunade. It seems that we still have to go to Konoha again. However, this time it was by no means as simple as killing a few people. Let Konoha village be removed from the ninja world. The Scarlet Sharingan looked at Orochimaru aside for an instant. This plan is called Konoha Collapse Plan. You and Chio will execute it together. Under Muyun's instructions, Orochimaru and Chio left one after another. Prepare to secretly get rid of 4th Kazekage who does not want to go to war. After that, Chio, as a consultant, controlled Sunagakure to attack Konoha. After all, Muyun's current strength has not fully recovered. Wood Style's blood inheritance limit, and Eternal Mangekyo's pupil power have not been recovered. Zanpakuto's abilities cannot be fully utilized either. With his current strength, it would be difficult to completely destroy Konoha. Konoha's background is too deep. Various powerful families gather in it, and each of them is very powerful. Might Guy with the 8th gate fully open is another big threat. Before his strength is fully restored, even Muyun is not necessarily his opponent. Only with the help of other forces can Konoha be completely destroyed. After that, as long as you control Tsunade with Sharingan's illusion, you can get everything he wants to know. After standing there for a while, after clearing all the thoughts, Muyun also left Sunagakure. Akatsuki cannot be absent from this war. At the same time that Muyun started his actions, the Land of Water also had something unexpected happen because of him. In an underground base, 4th Mizukage Yagura opened his eyes suddenly. Sharingan's pupil power faded like a tide. Regain clarity in the eyes. Where is this? Should I be in the ninja office? Yagura looked at the surroundings blankly, still not completely free from the influence of the illusion. After a while, his face gradually climbed into a strong color of anger. Even the 3 tails in his body began to restlessly. He finally remembered everything. A long time ago, he met a man with Sharingan. Challenged him for spying on the tail beast in his body. However, he was easily defeated by himself. After that, under his own leadership, Kurigakure, the country of water, swept the entire ninja world with overwhelming strength. Unify the 5 ninja villages. As the only shadow in the entire ninja world, he is known as the Blue Sea, immortal in the ninja world. The status is noble. All ninjas believe in their powerful power. Among the folks, legends about themselves have even begun to circulate. At that moment, all of this disappeared. Only then did he know that everything he had experienced was an illusion fabricated by the enemy. Just a poor man manipulated by others. The extremely strong drop made the chakra in his body confused. The 3 tails in the body almost ran away. Fortunately, his strength was still there, so he easily suppressed 3 tails again. However, the anger in my heart is getting worse. Byakugan bit tightly, the purple pupils filled with anger. Recalling the scene when he fell into illusion, he could only see a scarlet Sharingan. In the entire ninja world, there is only one village with this kind of blood inheritance boundary. Konoha village in the Land of Fire, the Uchiha clan. Uchiha, Konoha, you will pay for everything you do. That day, Fourth Mizukage Yagura summoned all the high levels of Rain Shinobi village to the Mizukage office. Among the 7 Mist Shinobi, the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Fish Ghost, a genius female ninja with 2 types of blood inheritance, Mist Shinobi's high-level descendant, Terumi Mei. Even the elder Yuenshi who has survived since the establishment of Mist Shinobi has received his invitation. Everyone looked at Yagura sitting in the seat of Mizukage with a little fear. It was the blood fog policy he released that caused the entire water country to fall into chaos. Many families who resisted have been bloody cleansed. Even the economy and strength of the entire water country have fallen a lot. As long as Fourth Mizukage is mentioned, everyone's faces are full of horror. From today, the blood fog policy is completely over. Yagura sighed softly, and slowly said the words that shocked everyone. Even Master Yuan's old eyes, which could hardly be opened, tried to make the most. I can't believe it. Is this the Fourth Mizukage who ruled Mist Shinobi with an iron-blooded wrist? Could it be that he has any more terrifying policies to release? Doubt, panic, fear. Various expressions change on everyone's faces. No one knew what Yagura wanted to do. Since the end of the 3 wars, he has completely changed a person. It's totally different from what he was before. Seeing their expressions, Yagura's mouth couldn't help but a wry smile appeared. The hatred for Konoha in his heart is even deeper. In his opinion, his being controlled is definitely Konoha's conspiracy. And Uchiha's extermination time is to erase all traces of this. Denying the fact that Sharingan was used to secretly control Kurigakure. Yagura tried to suppress the anger in her heart, trying to explain everything clearly in a calm tone. Everyone, I was hit by Uchiha's illusion before. I have been manipulated behind the scenes. If I don't believe it, I can use Byakugan to look at my body, and there should still be Sharingan's pupil power remaining. After hearing what Yagura said, everyone's faces were amazed. Sharingan, control Fourth Mizukage. This is simply a fantasy. Only Terumi Mei frowned deeply. He had already felt the abnormality of Yagura, and guessed that he might be controlled by illusion. Compared to other people's reactions, she was much calmer. Just nodded slightly. Ching, who was standing beside her, instantly understood what she meant. The hands were knotted, and the Byakugan in the right eye was instantly activated. Byakugan. After a while, a thin layer of cold sweat broke out on Ching's forehead. This is indeed Sharingan's pupil power, which is almost ingrained in Master 4th Generation's body. Ching's words left everyone in a daze. Then, there is extreme anger. Konoha, trying to control Kurigakure with this insidious method. You must not let Konoha go. These decent villains should be removed from the ninja world. Master 4th Generation, you have been wronged, and we blame us for not discovering your abnormality in time. The price must be paid by Konoha. Everyone who knew the truth had a deep hatred of Konoha. How dare you order the Uchiha clan to control Mizukage? Is it true that Mist Shinobi dare not go to war? Asterisk. Konoha Shinobi Village. Konoha at this time was already deep in the vortex of war. Cloud Shinobi's team has attacked the Valley of the End. Even Raikage is about to rush to the front line. As long as you take a step forward, you can directly attack Konoha Village. At that time, the entire country of fire will be defeated across the board. The full-bodied crisis engulfed the entire country of fire. Even the daimyo has been forced to leave the daimyo palace and go to Konoha village to prevent Cloud Shinobi's sneak attack. Konoha village has become the last safe zone in the entire fire country. Night. A deep night fell on the entire ninja world, but at this time Konoha village was brightly lit. In a clearing, there are hundreds of shirtless big men, beating around the stove. Whenever the hammer fell, there would be a cluster of bright sparks. A crisp sound of golden and iron strikes spread far and wide in the dark night. Quickly, we have to rush to work tonight to produce at least 20,000 kunai and 50,000 shurikens, all give me speed. A middle-aged man in a turban yelled to the crowd who was working hard. Surrounded by nearly 100 stoves, everyone's sweat-soaked skin reflected a burst of purple-red. Bright sparks splashed onto the sweaty body, and instantly condensed into small iron beads. Everyone's faces were exhausted, but no one dared to rest. Because behind them, there are more than a dozen chunin, waiting for acceptance of the ninja. This war came too suddenly. Konoha's ninja warehouse didn't have many conventional ninjas at all. The friction of the past few days has consumed part of it. As a result, many ninjas did not use ninja even if they were on the battlefield. Only use ninjutsu against the enemy. However, this will consume a lot of chakra. After all, not everyone has almost infinite chakra like Jinchuriki. As long as the chakra in the body is exhausted, it means death on the battlefield. The more ninjutsu released, the faster death comes. Every war is actually based on physical skills. Tolerance is particularly important. Not only the conventional weapons such as Kuwu Shuriken, but also equipment such as detonation charms and smoke bombs. There are a large number of ninjas in urgent production. Even Konoha Hospital has now become a production base for Bingliong pills. Strive to make every ninja on the battlefield not fall due to lack of physical strength. In Hokage's office, although it was late at night, many Konoha executives still gathered in Hokage's office. Tsunade was sitting behind the desk with a serious face listening to Nara Shikajo's report. Konoha's 2 consultants also listened in wheelchairs. There is also Kato Dan's niece Shizune, the elite Jonin Might Guy. The patriarchs of the major families are already on the list. Even Yamanaka Keiichi, who had just recovered his mind, stood at the door and listened quietly. Master Tsunade, the current Cloud Shinobi has more than 8,000 troops, Chakra Light Cannon 10 5th Gate, and Jinchuriki Killer Bee from 8 Tails, and the 2 Jinchuriki is composed of many masters such as Wooden Golem. In addition, receiving reliable information, Reikage is also rushing to the battlefield and is about to reach the territory of the Country of Fire. Hearing Nara Lujo's report, everyone's heart sank. Cloud Shinobi Village in Thunder Country was originally a military power. Even in peacetime, they pay much attention to the country's military reserves. There are also 2 Jinchuriki, 8 Tails and Erwei, who are very powerful. On the other hand, Konoha suffered heavy losses on the night Uchiha Muyun woke up. Even 3rd Hokage was killed in that battle. The masters in the village had more of the casualties. In the current frontline, there are only ninjas less than 6,000. Among them, the number of Jonin is even rarer. It is difficult to withstand Cloud Shinobi's attack. Tsunade's brow furrowed deeply, and his face was full of seriousness. Although the current situation is very severe, she is also the princess of the Senju clan anyway. One of the legendary Sannin who once became famous in the Battle of Ninja. Even in this dangerous situation, her mind did not panic at all. How is the situation of Genin and the evacuation of the villagers in the village? Nara Luju said meticulously, I have evacuated in the direction of the Uzumaki kingdom as per your instructions, and now I have evacuated a little bit. Immediately speed up and evacuate overnight. Yes. Tsunade stood up abruptly and glanced sharply at everyone in Hokage's office. Everyone, it's time for Konoha to survive and die. I hope everyone can work together to get through this difficult time. The patriarchs of all major families are the same. An hour later, everyone will rush to the battlefield with me. After hearing her words, the face of each clan chief changed. This is for them to send all the backbone of the clan to the battlefield. In case of defeat, it is the end of the family's destruction. Although I was reluctant in my heart, I was under the pressure of Tsunade and the crisis of Cloud Shinobi. They have no choice but to compromise. They left Hokage's office one after another, and returned to their own clan to gather the masters of the clan. Only 2 consultants, Mitokado Homura and Udatane Kaharu, remain in Hokage's office. The 2 had already had their legs crippled on the night Muyun woke up. Now he has no ability to act at all, and his combat effectiveness is almost nothing. Looking at the ninja who used to be at the same time as 3rd Hokage, now they can only live in a wheelchair. Tsunade's gaze softened a bit, and his dislike for them was reduced a lot. 2 consultants, after I go to the front line, Konoha village will be handed over to you 2. After hearing what Tsunade said, Mitokado Homura let out a long sigh. Princess Tsunade, if it weren't for her crippled legs now, I really want to contribute my last strength to Konoha. Even Udatane Kaharu on the side is decadent. Once upon a time, the Country of Fire was the largest country among the 5 major countries. Konoha is also the strongest among the 5 ninja villages. Because of Uchiha Muyun, everything has changed. Just when the 2 were deeply moved, Tsunade handed a scroll to the 2 of them. Looking at the 2 men, their eyes were very solemn, but there was a hint of helplessness in their eyes. When Konoha is at the last moment, use this technique. After speaking, Tsunade walked straight to the door. Konoha will never fall, the will of fire will be passed on forever. Under Tsunade's order, Konoha started to move. All the ninjas received their own equipment and weapons. Tie Konoha's forehead protector tightly to her forehead. Even many ninjas who have retired have joined them voluntarily. Among them, there is an old-faced old man standing among the many ninjas with a cauldron on his back. Seeing his figure, the ninja next to him was shocked. This looks like the old man of a guy, but a big celebrity in Konoha village. Although he was not promoted to Jonin directly, he was recognized by the 3 Hokages of 2nd generation, 3rd generation, and 4th generation. He has experienced several battles in the ninja world and inherited the water style of the 2nd generation and the ninjutsu of the 3rd generation. The strength far exceeds the ordinary elite Jonin. Known as Konoha Village 10,000 Years Genin, Maru Shingusuk. Seeing his figure, many ninjas were surprised. This person has a low status in Konoha, but his qualifications are too old. Even Naruluju stepped forward to say hello. Master, why are you here too? Maruzoshi Kosuke smiled like an old farmer. I am also Konoha's ninja, of course I have to go to the battlefield. Master Tsunade's order is for all genin to evacuate Konoha, why didn't you leave? After listening to Nara Shikahisa's words, Furuhoshi Kosuke's eyes widened and his face was full of displeasure. Why, do you think my strength is only genin? How about we practice? Naruluju immediately looked embarrassed, and even a trace of cold sweat oozes on his forehead. No one knows your strength, old man. It's just. The strength of Maruzoshi Kosuke is clear to Konoha's ninja. Definitely better than most elite Jonin, but his age is too big. Moreover, his body also has many disabilities. Even one eye and one leg are prostheses. His situation, once on the battlefield. There is a great possibility of sacrifice. Nara Shikahisa still wanted to persuade him, but he heard Maruhoshi Kosuke say a word with a serious face. Where there is Konoha flying, the will of fire will burn, and the withered Konoha will become the nutrients for the new green leaves. Now, it is time to show the will of fire and carry out one's forbearance. Naruluji was stunned for a while, with a smile on her face. Kosuke Shang Marixing nodded, silently moving towards a change. For the ninja who has carried out his forbearance with the mortal consciousness, any grief is an insult to him. In the cemetery in Konoha village. In the dark environment, there is a ray of dim light jumping constantly. Tsunade was standing silently in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen's tombstone, with a sad expression on his face. In the deeper part of the cemetery, there are many tombstones. It looks like the undead guarding Konoha one by one. Before the tombstone, there are many flowers and various tributes. However, the flowers have withered, and the tribute has rotted. Tsunade gently placed the wine bottle in his hand in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen's tombstone. Old man, if it's really the last step, it can only disturb the ancestors. In any case, the will of fire will never be cut off in my hands. The Valley of the End. The gorge where Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara battled civilization at the end is now surrounded by many ninjas. The direction of Uchiha Madara Station is surrounded by many cloud shinobi ninjas. Looking around, the lights are bright. 10 Fifth Gate Chakra Light Cannon stands on the edge of the canyon, gleaming dimly under the moonlight. Give Konoha a full deterrent. In the rear, in the tent that must have the seal of Cloud Shinobi, the top of Cloud Shinobi is discussing the attack on Konoha. Konoha's Tsunade still refuses to fight. The female ninja with 2 golden braids asks the ninja on the side. She is one of Cloud Shinobi's Jinchuriki and can completely control the second tail in the body. With her strength, there is no problem at all for temporary command. After hearing her words, the ninja next to her quickly replied. We have already played Konoha 5 times, and we still haven't got the slightest recovery. It should be because we are afraid of our strength, so we don't dare to fight at all. At this time, Cloud Shinobi has been stationed here in the Valley of End for nearly 2 months. Konoha only sent thousands of ninjas to confront them, and there was no sign of wanting to fight against them. However, Cloud Shinobi didn't push Konoha too hard, just occasionally harassed it a few times. At the same time, take advantage of this time to capture all other places in the Country of Fire. Even with the withdrawal of troops now, Konoha would not want to take back all the territory. Now, all preparations are complete. As soon as Master Raikage arrives, the final battle will begin. Where is Lord Raikage now? Killer B, who was sitting at the door constructing new lyrics, didn't care about the current situation at all. Just answered casually, Big Brother is very anxious now. He is already in the Iron Kingdom at this time and will arrive before dawn. The tone of speech was filled with the strange tune of rap. As long as you are not someone who is too familiar with him, it is difficult to just understand what he is saying. Seeing Killer B's nonchalant face, Wooden Golem held his forehead with his hands. Had it not been for this guy who didn't want to fight at all, he would have attacked Konoha's gate long ago. But this guy is still Raikage-sama's younger brother, she has no right to command at all. Fortunately, Lord Raikage is about to personally rush to the scene to direct. Finally, she didn't have to worry about the whole situation. At this moment, the door of the tent suddenly opened. A gust of wind poured in from outside the door, raising all the dust in the room. Raikage's figure appeared in front of everyone instantly. With a wave of his hand, Killer B's head was pressed deeply on the ground. Boom! A big hole appeared on the whole ground in an instant, and only Killer B could be seen waving his arms and struggling. You brat, did you come to the battlefield for fun? Raikage's eyebrows were almost erected, and his face was full of anger. The rough voice almost made the surrounding Cloud Shinobi hear clearly. From Wooden Golem, immediately gather the whole team and start the war immediately. Before dawn, I want to see Konoha's gate. Yes, Killer B had just pulled his head out of the soil, before he could slip away. Raikage kicked out of the tent. Prepare me for the battlefield, if you dare to run, I will break your leg. Raikage gave an order, and all Cloud Shinobi were quickly prepared for war. The chakra cannon began to charge. Various ninjas were also distributed to everyone's hands. Even Wooden Golem put his own sharp claws on his hands, shining a little bit of cold light under the moonlight. Seeing Cloud Shinobi's movements, Konoha on the opposite side was panicked. Quickly, you are all ready to fight, Cloud Shinobi's Choppy is about to start attacking. Give me all the detonating charms and detonating charms. You must stop Cloud Shinobi's attack before Tsunade-sama arrives. Ebisu, with an anxious look, was running on the battlefield. There are also elites such as Jonin Moonlight Hayate, Yamashiro Aoba, Convergence, Shiranui Genma and others. They are all anxiously running on the battlefield. Before Tsunade-sama has reached it, they must lead Konoha's ninjas to firmly withstand Cloud Shinobi's attack. Otherwise, once the Valley of End is lost, within half a day, Cloud Shinobi's army will be able to attack Konoha Gate. The final Pure Land of the entire country of fire will fall. By then, even if Tsunade and others arrived, it would be of no avail. Statues of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara tower over the Valley of the End. As if watching the course of this war, even the flow of the waterfall seems to be more turbulent than usual. Flying down, smashing into the pool in the valley, rumbling noises. It's like a war drum being beaten. The heart of every Konoha shinobi is filled with deep anxiety. Compared with Cloud Shinobi, Konoha's current high-level combat power is too small. Even ordinary ninjas have no confidence in defeating Cloud Shinobi. You can only defend the battlefield first, and then counterattack after Master Tsunade arrives. Moonlight Hayate gently pulled the sword behind him out of the scabbard, and said to Azuki Shion, who was standing beside him. Wait, be careful, and be sure to stop them before Tsunade-sama arrives. After speaking, the whole person instantly became transparent and disappeared from everyone's sight. Although Uzu Shion was worried, she also knew that Moonlight Hayate's mission was important. It's up to him whether he can hold on until Mr. Gangsho arrives. He gritted his teeth and pulled out the sword behind him. Standing in front of nearly 10,000 Cloud Shinobi, there is no fear on his face. Bring it on. Konoha will never give in easily. At this point, the army of Cloud Shinobi has been assembled. Raikage stood naked with his arms in the front, Killer B and Wooden Golem stood on either side of him. Behind them, there are nearly 10,000 Cloud Shinobi ninja troops. All of them held sharp ninjas in their hands and looked murderous in Konoha's direction. Raikage stretched out his arm and pointed forward. Cloud Shinobi, Konoha's gate is right in front, attack me. With an order from Raikage, the mood of Cloud Shinobi, which had been silent for nearly 2 months, was instantly detonated. Roar! Nearly 10,000 ninjas burst out with a shocking shout. Even in the Valley of End, there were endless shouts. The pool water underneath was shocked. The kunai in everyone's hands, let go. Almost the entire sky is rendered into a dark color. Only in the cold moonlight, I can see a trace of brilliance without reflection. Seeing the high-spirited Cloud Shinobi, Konoha Shinobi's faces were a little pale. The strength of their side has not reached the battlefield yet. However, war has never given the enemy an opportunity to prepare. Resist Cloud Shinobi's attack, wait for the arrival of Lord Gang, and charge me. Ebisu quickly led him between his hands, and a large amount of chakra with fire attributes instantly condensed in his mouth. Fire-style Great Fireball Technique. A group of flames erupted instantly, sweeping the whole sky of Kuwu in an instant. Konoha finally launched a counterattack. Suddenly, the entire battlefield was fluttering, and the blades overflowed with light. The bright red blood flower splashed out from time to time. Screams full of anger, screams on the verge of death. It filled everyone's ears. Hot flames, heavy earth and rocks, laser thunder. Sing in the crowd one after another. From time to time, several charred bodies fell into the pool below from both sides of the valley. The cool water of the pool was dyed blood red. The war has just begun, and it has already reached a white-hot stage. Kill all these Cloud Shinobis choppy, and protect Konoha desperately. Hold on, before Tsunade-sama arrives, never let Cloud Shinobi take a step. The will of fire will never disappear, you invaders, send me to hell. For a while, Konoha, with a strong will, actually blocked Cloud Shinobi's attack. Raikage, who was watching the battle, frowned instantly. Activate the chakra cannon. Learn, 10 5th gate chakra light cannon, bursting with dazzling light instantly. Almost all the darkness of the entire battlefield was dissipated. Boom! The purple beam of light instantly hit among the crowd of Konoha guards. Blast countless ninjas into the sky in an instant. The invisible air wave swept away in an instant. Even the waterfall next to it was cut off for a moment by this huge impact. We can't hold on for long without destroying that chakra light cannon. He gritted his teeth and looked at Cloud Shinobi's direction. His blood-stained face was full of anger. Cloud Shinobi's chakra cannon is a weapon that has only recently been developed, and it is also the first time it has been used in this war. Although it takes a long time to charge, it is powerful enough. Konoha's ninja couldn't resist that kind of powerful attack at all. Similarly, the two of us rushed over and destroyed all those things. Shiranui Genma waved his hand and pierced Kuwu into the throat of a Cloud Shinobi, and the hot blood spattered his entire body red. At this moment, a loud noise suddenly came in the direction of Cloud Shinobi. Boom! A chakra light cannon was instantly lifted by a violent explosion. Smashed on the ground and smashed to pieces. What? Who did it on earth? Is it Konoha's ninja? All Konoha's ninjas were shocked, completely unaware of what happened. Only Azuki Yuyan looked worried, and Hengdao beheaded Cloud Shinobi in front of him. Frowning his brows and looking in the direction of Cloud Shinobi. Hate, be careful. Among the ninja world, the 5 powers are the strongest. The news of Konoha's battle with Cloud Shinobi also shook many forces. Iwagakure border. Many rock shinobi ninjas are fully equipped and ready to send troops to fight. Tsuchikage Onoki was floating in the sky, looking at Konoha's direction from a distance. Even if there is a country of grass in the middle, you can faintly see the flames of the explosion. In addition to the militant Cloud Shinobi, Iwagakure is the best at invading other countries. It was only because of Uchiha Muyun's threat that Onogi dared not make a move. However, once Konoha loses his hand in this war, Rock Shinobi will also send troops. In the hands of Cloud Shinobi, plunder Konoha's territory and resources. Now, just waiting for the result of this war. Not only Rock Shinobi, the war between the two countries has even alarmed the neutral Iron Nation. The Admiral 3 ships of the Iron Nation are very disgusted with the war between the two countries. It has been approved by the daimyo of the Iron Country to lead a large number of warriors to Konoha. However, it was not for aggression, but for mediation between Konoha and Cloud Shinobi. Stop unnecessary wars and continue to maintain the precious peace. After all, once Cloud Shinobi captures Konoha, his strength will rise sharply. With the militant bloodline of Thunder Country, it might even connect the neighboring countries of Yuno and Moon. Even the Iron Kingdom may not be able to protect itself in the powerful Cloud Shinobi. The best scenario is to let Cloud Shinobi retreat and return to the situation where there are 5 major countries. The war between the 2 countries involved almost the entire ninja world. All forces are waiting for opportunities in secret. Just as Konoha and Cloud Shinobi were in a formal battle, the entire ninja world was in turmoil at the same time. Luli and his party finally reached the junction of the Kingdom of Wind and the Kingdom of Rain. Looking at the long yellow sand in front of her, Yingshe was full of reluctance. Boss, are we really going to Sunagakure? Wan Yan glanced at Yingshe, who pretended to be poor, and said helplessly. Master Luli is going to find that guy, what can I do? Even Nan Li next to him was helpless. Since seeing the figure of Uchiha Muyun, Master Luli seems to have been wicked. The business was all handed over to his hands to execute, and he took the 3 of them and set off from Taki no Kuni. After passing through the country of grass and the country of rain, you will immediately enter the country of wind. Just to find Uchiha Muyun. Their hearts are full of curiosity, but they are completely consumed by the exhaustion of the journey. Only Master Luli was still in high spirits, with a gentle smile on his face. Make them very sure. Master Luli, I absolutely love that guy. At this moment, a bird suddenly fell from the sky onto Nan Li's shoulder. The melodious bird calls instantly filled everyone's ears. Even Luli, who was staring at the wind and sand in the front, turned back to look at him. Nan Li, what happened? After listening to Nan Li for a while, he knelt on his knees and said with a serious face. Master Luli, the war between Cloud Shinobi and Konoha has begun, and the major shinobi villages are not peaceful. Even the Iron Kingdom is ready to move. The entire shinobi world will be in chaos. Luli frowned when she heard the news. Humph, Konoha should have disappeared from the ninja world a long time ago, and now they are besieged by Cloud Shinobi, and they are on their own account. Listening to her voice, it seemed that there was a deep grudge against Konoha. At this moment, a figure with a long waist and hip sword appeared from the desert in the distance. Wherever he went, the wind and sand subsided instantly. Even the desert that I stepped on underneath my feet has condensed a layer of white frost. When Luli saw that figure, her shoulders trembled suddenly. He quickly turned around and asked the 3 of them. How am I now? Both Wan Yun and Nan Li were at a loss, and they had no idea what their master Luli was thinking. Only Yingshe hit the palm of her hand with a fist, and instantly understood the meaning of Luli. Master Luli, you are so beautiful now, just like the goddess in the myth. Luli smiled after hearing Yingshui's words. The eyelashes quivered a few times and turned to look in Muyun's direction. Seeing her look like this, Wan behind him scratched his head in wonder. How do I feel that Master Luli is a little nervous? Yingshe put her hands on her chest, her face full of expectation. After hearing what he said, he flipped through Byakugan. The dull man. Muyun is now preparing to go to the country of rain and inform the members of the Akatsuki organization to see the Konoha collapse plan. Although the current Akatsuki organization is not yet its strongest period. However, even if it is only Nagato Konan and others, they can also play a big role in dealing with Konoha. At the very least, it can make him relax. He had already noticed the sudden appearance of Luli and others. However, he is completely uninterested in paying attention to a group of inexplicable people now. He didn't even have the time to cast a glance, and he walked past a few people. That kind of ignorance instantly filled Zhao's heart with anger. Master Luli chased him all the way from the country of grass. This guy didn't even look at it. However, he has seen Muyun's forces with his own eyes. The entire Mount Zumi was completely frozen, and even Xiao organization was defeated in his hands. His strength is not an opponent at all. Moreover, their master Luli didn't show any disappointment on his face. He just turned around again and screamed in Muyun's direction. Are you Uchiha Muyun-sama? Muyun's footsteps stopped for an instant, then turned around and looked at her with some doubts. Even his brows were slightly frowned. This woman seems to have seen it somewhere, but she can't remember at all. A look of disappointment flashed across Luli's face. Then do you remember Senkana from the Sengoku period? An electric light flashed in Muyun's mind instantly. The woman's face instantly overlapped with a woman I had known in my mind. You are. Luli saw the look on Mu Yun's face and said very happy. Chiangina is my ancestor, but he has passed away 5 years ago. Hearing the conversation between the two, the three of them were surprised. One mouth grows to the limit, it can almost stuff an entire egg. It turned out that Master Luli had chased him for so long for a man he had never seen before. This is love. After hearing Chenkina's name, Mu Yun instantly remembered a long memory. When he just crossed into the Hokage world, he was just an ordinary member of the Uchiha clan. The system is not fully turned on either. Just throwing him a newbie spree, he just went silent. In that era of war and chaos, fighting occurred from time to time. Following the battle between the Uchiha family and other families, he will also fight on the battlefield. At the beginning, every time he came back from a battle, he would put a few wounds on his body. At that time, there was a little girl named Uchiha Senkina who had been by his side to help him bandage his wounds. As his strength grew, he suffered fewer and fewer injuries. However, Uchiha Chikina waited at the door of his room every time. After seeing that he was not injured, he patted his chest and left as if he was relieved. After that, the little girl became his specialized medical ninja. Even among his subordinates, they all admire her. Until the final battle, Mu Yun missed and was sealed, and all his subordinates were bloody and clear from Senju Tobarama. Because Uchiha Chikina is a member of Uchiha's clan, he left it to Uchiha Madara to handle it himself. However, the little girl disappeared from the ninja world afterwards. No one knows where she went. There was a hint of surprise on Mu Yun's face when she heard that Luli was actually a descendant of Chiangina. This little girl, who was very inconspicuous back then, escaped the massacre that year. Or even lived until 5 years ago. Uchiha Luli saw that Mu Yun's face was still a little confused, and hurriedly walked to his side. Staring at him with big eyes. A special kind of chakra instantly condenses around her eyes. A touch of scarlet gushes out of the pitch-black pupils. 3 guis emerged from the scarlet pupils. 3 Tomo Sharingan. If you are not a member of Uchiha's clan, even if you get Sharingan, you can't take it away freely. The state of Sharingan, which can only be maintained, consumes his own chakra at all times. Therefore, Danzo and Kakashi usually seal Sharingan. Only the pure Uchiha can hide Sharingan when not in use. Seeing her eyes, Mu Yun felt quite moved in her heart. I thought that the identity of the Traverser would let him know everything in Hokage. Unexpectedly, the loophole happened on his side. Sasuke is not the last Uchiha, but this little girl must be added. Even the 3 of Wan were dumbfounded. Luli has never revealed her identity of the Uchiha clan in front of anyone. Even her 3 confidants are not quite clear. Seeing the doubt in Mu Yun's eyes, Uchiha Luli took the initiative to explain what happened to him. When Senju Tobarama began to slaughter Mu Yun's former subordinates, Uchiha Chikina took her sister into hiding. Escaped the final chase. Moreover, the 2 sisters jointly established the largest financial organization in the ninja world during the turbulent time in the ninja world. Underground Gold Exchange. Because of the hatred of Konoha, the name of the country of fire hung at the top of the reward list. It's just that, for so many years, no one has been able to complete this reward. Chenkina himself remained unmarried until he died of old age 5 years ago. Luli is just a descendant of her sister. It's just that after listening to Chiangina's stories about Mu Yun all the year round, she gradually worshipped Mu Yun, whom she had never seen before. Only then followed his footsteps across the 2 countries. Luli retracted the pupil power in his eyes, and once again turned into a black-haired girl with black pupils. Because the Uchiha clan did not have any assistance when you were sealed, and turned a blind eye to the massacres of your subordinates. Granny Chiangina asked me to abandon Uchiha's name in the future. After you wake up and come back to your subordinates, she will let me reveal Uchiha name. After listening to Luli's account, Mu Yun couldn't help but sigh slightly. There were 10 men under him. Chikina is just a medical ninja, not included. In addition to the 3 people behind Ruri, there are also 3 Orochimaru, Chio, and Pyrahu. In other words, 4 subordinates were wiped out under the purging of Senju Tobarama. Not even the posterity was left behind. This made Muyun's anger even worse, and he couldn't wait to wipe Konoha from the ninja world. At this time, the three of Wan also heard Luli's words clearly, and their faces were full of unbelievable expressions. They have been adopted by Kionshina since they were young, and they have always thought they were war orphans. I never thought that my ancestors were actually Uchiha Muyun's subordinates. For a while, they couldn't accept this kind of change. But Luli said to the three with a serious face, "Your ancestors are Lord Muyun's subordinates. Starting today, you will also inherit the legacy of your ancestors and follow Lord Muyun's side." Although the three of them were a little reluctant, under Luli's suppression, they walked to Muyun's side and knelt to him to show their allegiance. Muyun frowned slightly. "Luli, the three of them will continue to follow you, my business hasn't been finished yet." The strength of the three of them is not in Muyun's eyes at all. Now is the critical moment when Konoha is about to attack, and he doesn't want to be more burdensome by his side. After hearing Muyun's words, Luli rolled her eyes and raised a nice smile at the corner of her mouth. "Then what are you going to do next? Maybe I can help. Although my strength is relatively poor, the money exchange is very rich and can hire many master ninjas." Hire a ninja. A ninja that can be hired is not a master. Like Kakuzu, who is addicted to money, the entire ninja world is probably only one. However, since she asked, Muyun simply replied, "Attack Konoha and retrieve the power I was once sealed. Wanting intel the whereabouts of the sealed power, I only asked Tsunade. Destroying Konoha was just incidental." After speaking, Muyun continued to walk in the direction of Rain Shinobi village. Luli frowned behind him, thinking hard for a moment, then suddenly tapped his palm and said, "Master Muyun, I really want to know a little clue about your power of being sealed." "Master Muyun, about your power of being sealed, I really want to know a little clue." After hearing Luli's words, Muyun's footsteps suddenly stopped. "You know, even the old guy like Chio who has lived for so long doesn't know this secret. Luli is just a little girl, she should know. Muyun's appearance is only in his 20s at any time, but after all, he has been sealed for 60 years. With the addition of 2 lives as a human, the mind is more mature. He always felt Luli was just a playful kid. She shouldn't know this kind of secret. Back then, mother-in-law Chiangina once said that one day you will reappear in the ninja world. At that time, it is time for you to regain your power. That is to say, since then, the underground gold exchange has been collecting a big clue was discovered in this secret." After listening to Luli's words, Muyun's heart was moved. Chenkina was just a little girl who was ignored by him for a long time, and she did so much after she was sealed. The descendants of his subordinates were gathered, and an organization with strong financial resources, such as the underground exchange house, was built. Also found out the secret of the sealed power. I really owe her something. Luli didn't know the thoughts in Muyun's heart at all. After you were sealed, Senju Hashirama disappeared for a while. According to the investigation, it should have sealed your wood-style blood inheritance boundary. However, no one knows where it went. However, after that, the Senju clan added a summoning beast inheritance until Tsunade inherited it. Mother-in-law Chiangina said, Tsunade's Katsuyu is likely to be the same as Mount Myoboku, in a strange secret. It's impossible to get there by ordinary methods. Luli's words resounded in Muyun's mind like a bolt from the blue sky. To say that there is the safest place to seal one's power in the ninja world. It is undoubtedly the 3 holy places of summoning. Toad Sage's Mount Myoboku, the White Snake Fairy Ryachi Cave, and the Katsuyu Fairy's Wet Bone Forest. The 3 immortals are creatures that have survived thousands of years. The long passage of time allowed them to learn how to use immortality. And can teach the power of immortality to others to use. It is said that these 3 places are in a kind of peculiar time and space, and they are not in the shinobi world at all. A special method must be used to get there. Jiraiya uses the summoning technique without signing a contract with any summoning beast. It was a coincidence that I came to Mount Myoboku. Senju Hashirama's sage art was a mystery during the Sengoku period. No one knows how he masters powerful chakra, nor does he know where he learned it. The only explanation is the wet bone forest. The blood of wood style must be hidden in the wet bone forest. There was a smile at the corner of Muyun's mouth. In this case, Tsunade's role is even greater. She is the only ninja who has signed a contract with the Wetbone Forest, and can enter the Wetbone Forest through the reverse summoning technique. As long as you control Tsunade, you can retrieve your own wood-style blood succession boundary. It is even possible to practice successfully in its Vice Admiral Sage art. However, to control Tsunade, Konoha must be destroyed. It seems that Konoha village cannot escape this disaster after all. In that way, it can be regarded as paying off a blood debt for the slaughtered subordinates. On the battlefield of the Valley of End. Boom, boom, boom. Violent explosions continued to sound, and the chakra light cannons were blown to pieces in an instant. Even the Cloud Shinobi driving was torn into countless pieces in the violent explosion. The red blood spread all over the ground instantly. Seeing this scene of wreckage, he was furious instantly. What's the matter? Is the chakra cannon malfunctioned? A Cloud Shinobi ran over anxiously, his face full of panic. Master Raikage, it is not a malfunction of the machine, it seems to be a detonating charm, a lot of detonating charms. Detonation symbol. Someone could blow up the chakra cannon with a detonating talisman under Raikage's eyelids. Even the former third Hokage did not have this kind of strength. Could it be that there is an insider in Cloud Shinobi? Perceive the ninja, and immediately find me the trail of the enemy. Yes, Raikage's guard. He rushed over immediately. He is the all-around elite Jonin of Cloud Shinobi Village, Grandmaster Medical Ninjutsu, Attack Ninjutsu, Illusion, and Perception Ninjutsu. Like Darui, he is the guard of 4th Raikage. After hearing Raikage's command, he immediately sealed his hands and performed Perception Ninjutsu. An invisible wave instantly enveloped the entire battlefield. Everyone's chakra is extremely clear under his perception. At this moment, Moonlight Gale lay at the point of a chakra light cannon and posted the detonating talisman in his hand. Now that the 11 gates have been blown up, as long as the remaining 4th gate is blown up, you can hold on to Cloud Shinobi's attack before Master Tsunade arrives. This is the tactic he discussed with Azuki Yuyan from the beginning. Cloud Shinobi's Raikage and the 2 Jinchuriki will not take action easily. The biggest crisis they face is actually the war weapon developed by Cloud Shinobi. As long as all 10 5th gate chakra cannons are blown up, Konoha's pressure can be greatly reduced. It's just that I want to blow up the chakra light cannon under the eyes of many Cloud Shinobi. This kind of thing can only be done by the master's clear moonlight wind. Boom! Another chakra light cannon burst, and now only the 3rd gate remains. The ninjas on Konoha's side, although they didn't know what was going on. However, until now is a good time to fight back. Shiranui Genma immediately solved several Cloud Shinobi around him, waved his hand and pulled out a kunai from the enemy's corpse. Take advantage of the chaos behind Cloud Shinobi, and kill all the enemies that rushed up. Shancheng Qingyi's hands instantly formed seals. Ninfa San Chinwu technique. Countless crows appeared out of thin air in an instant. The pitch-black feathers kept flapping, completely obscuring the Cloud Shinobi ninja's sight. At the same time, he pulled out the poisonous black sword behind him, and rushed into the crowd of crows as soon as he flashed. The dark blade, under the cover of the deep night, seemed to be invisible. Easily took the life of a named Cloud Shinobi. Even if he didn't die with a single blow, he would be killed by the poison quenched by the blade. At the same time, Moonlight Blast had already covered the detonation talisman on the bottom of the last chakra cannon. With a thought, you can blow it up. Finally I find you. On the battlefield of Konoha, a purple figure is moving back and forth among Cloud Shinobi ninjas with agility. The long knife in his hand will bring a handful of blood every time it is swung. In a blink of an eye, Cloud Shinobi beside Azuki Yuyan was killed by her. He shook off the blood sticking to the knife, and couldn't help but look in the direction of Cloud Shinobi. A total of 10 5th gates chakra light cannons have been blown up by moonlight blasts and 10 4th gates. As long as he destroys the last door, his mission is complete. At that time, as long as Raikage and the 2 Jinchuriki don't make a move, they have the confidence to persist until the arrival of Lord Tsunade. At this moment, the last chakra light cannon exploded instantly. The intense fire light shone a fiery red color across the sky. Uzu Shion breathed a sigh of relief in an instant. In the next second, her pupils suddenly shrank. The figure of the moonlight blast was revealed from the intense firelight. The long knife in his hand was broken, and a mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth. It was discovered. Azuki Yuyan's heart trembled for an instant, and her figure moved, and she immediately rushed in the direction of Cloud Shinobi's troops. Standing near the chakra cannon are all the big figures of Cloud Shinobi. Not to mention fourth Raikage for the time being, as long as either of the two Jinchuriki shots. Moonlight and Gusts are bound to die. At this moment, Moonlight Gale was about to land, and instantly stood up. Putting the short sword in his hand on the ground fiercely, it stopped the backing figure. In front of him, was standing a big man with brown-red skin. The muscles of the whole body are solid and full of beauty of strength. Both eyebrows were almost upside down, like an angry bull. Cloud Shinobi's Raikage is indeed well-deserved, and only a single blow interrupted the long knife in his hand. It also shook his viscera into serious internal injuries. Cough cough, cough cough cough. Moonlight Hayate coughed a few times, and looked at the blood on his hands, but a smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. His illness has already lived for a long time. He was satisfied to be able to make a contribution to Konoha before he died. Raikage's old face turned black, and his heart was filled with extreme anger. Blowing up the chakra cannon in front of him, he simply didn't put him in the eye. One arm was raised, and a large amount of lightning-style chakra instantly filled it. On the entire arm, there was a dazzling arc flashing. Ninja of Konoha, leave a name, and greet death later. Moonlight Hayate stood up with difficulty, smiled and put his hand-breaking knife on his chest. The red blood was still falling in his mouth. Konoha Elite Jonin, Moonlight hurry. As the blade turned, the Moonlight blast flashed 3 phantoms in an instant, rushing in the direction of Raikage. Konoha Ryu Swordsmanship, Dance of the Three Suns and the Moon. Lariat, the two figures crossed past, and Raikage had 2 more shallow knife marks on his body. The unusually strong physique only made him suffer a very light injury. It's just a little bit of blood oozing out. Moonlight Hayate's body fell to the ground in an instant, with her entire neck drooping behind her back. The cervical spine has been completely crushed. Seeing this scene, Yu Xian let out a scream instantly. A pair of eyes were faintly red from the bitter hatred. Blast! The long knife in his hand drew a circle around it, and countless shadows of the knife bloomed. Konoha Swordsmanship Aussie Moonlit Night. The hot blood splashed in the air instantly, and all the surrounding Cloud Shinobi were beheaded by him. Just when she wanted to rush to Moonlight Hayate's side. But only a touch of yellow flashed before my eyes. There were already 3 deep bone scars on his chest. The sticky blood was pouring out continuously. Finally, he glanced at the direction of Moonlight Storm, his eyes filled with deep sadness. Blast! Fall to the ground and die. Wooden golem shakes the blood from the metal claws in his hand. Just glanced at Mao Yuxian's corpse, and her figure disappeared instantly. This is war. Death is the most common thing. No one has time to grieve. Compassion for the enemy is even more impossible. The entire battlefield once again returned to a feast of chaos and killing. Entering 20,000 ninja troops to fight each other, almost filling up the entire Valley of the End. Whether it was Cloud Shinobi or Konoha, his face was full of madness. Kill all these gangsters. Defend the country of fire to the death. Give me an attack. You must see Konoha's gate before dawn. The entire battlefield was in chaos, and everyone was mixed together. All kinds of ninjutsu are released from the hands of ninjas, and grand sparks are exploded in the sky. The pool below the Valley of End was filled with the bodies of both parties. Even the waterfall beside it was full of bright red blood. Raikage watched the madness of Konoha Shinobi, frowning deeper. If you don't capture the Valley of the End now, it will be even more difficult when Konoha's true master arrives. Cloud Shinobi's casualties will also increase significantly. From Wooden Golem, clean up the main force of Konoha. Yes, Lord Raikage. From Wooden Golem's body, a powerful tail beast chakra burst out instantly. The dark pupils turned upward, leaving only a touch of pure white in his eyes. 2 golden horsetails also dispersed under chakra's riots, flying in the back of his head. On all fours, Yang Tian let out a penetrating meow. His body screamed, and instantly rushed into Konoha's ninja army. Like a ghost, pull the afterimages of the debut. A pair of cat's claws are like the sharp blades of Shinigami, causing a bloody storm among the Konoha Shinobi. Be careful, it's Jinchuriki of Cloud Shinobi. The second tail is very fast, don't go close to her, surround it. Be careful of her paws. Seeing Konoha's ninja being slaughtered frantically, Shiranui Genma's face was full of anger. Even his eyes were blood red. However, his strength is not Jinchuriki's opponent at all. You must preserve your strength and persevere in order to wait for Konoha's reinforcements. At this moment, a sonorous and powerful shout instantly resounded in the Valley of End. Leaf Great Whirlwind. Might Guy suddenly appeared in front of Yu Wooden Golem, and a swing kick instantly forced Yu Wooden Golem away. The fists slammed into each other, revealing a bright white fang. Little cat, let Konoha's blue beast be your opponent. Whoosh! Countless ninjas with Konoha forehead protector appeared behind Guy instantly. Reinforcements, finally here. Tsunade, wearing a green windbreaker, stood at the forefront of Konoha's camp. Across the Valley of the End, I look across from wreckage of Cloud Shinobi. Seeing the corpses and blood all over the floor, the anger in Tsunade's heart almost broke through her sanity. These Cloud Shinobi invaded when Konoha was empty. Really, the anger in her heart was gushing all the time, making her body tremble faintly. However, now is not a good time to go to war. After Uchiha Muyun left Konoha, he disappeared in Ninja World. Almost no relevant news was heard. It was as if he had never appeared before. However, Tsunade would not think that the old guys from the Sengoku period broke the seal just to come to Ninja World to enjoy life. This guy must have a bigger conspiracy. Moreover, what he is plotting is the entire ninja realm. If there is a war with Cloud Shinobi now, Konoha and Cloud Shinobi will lose a large part of their power. If Uchiha Muyun attacks again at this time, it will be Konoha's end. Even Cloud Shinobi, whose strength has been greatly damaged, may be directly breached. At that time, the entire ninja world will fall, all under the control of Uchiha Muyun. Thinking of this, Tsunade couldn't help yelling to Reikage on the opposite side. Reikage, Cloud Shinobi and Konoha shouldn't be fighting at this time. Uchiha Muyun may attack any Shinobu village at any time. It should be united now. Tsunade's cold voice spread throughout the Valley of the End in an instant. Both ninjas, under the voice of Tsunade, couldn't help stopping the fight. Slowly retreat back to his camp. This stinky girl. Reikage was standing on the other side of the End Valley, looking at Tsunade, who was holding his chest, feeling a little tricky. The name of Konoha Sanin, the whole ninja world is like thunder. Even in Cloud Shinobi, they have a great reputation. Even his subordinates were saved by Tsunade. However, this is war. It is not a personal enmity between two people, but a life and death struggle between nations. There is absolutely no possibility of compromise. Reikage snorted and shouted to Tsunade. Tsunade, the war between nations is not something you can end with a few words. I owed you a favor back then. I won't take action this time. If you can block the attack of the Cloud Shinobi ninja, my Thunder Country is willing to retreat. After speaking, Reikage waved his hand. All Cloud Shinobi broke out again with shouts resounding through the sky and attacked Konoha's side. Asshole, this guy's brain is blocked by muscles. Tsunade gritted his teeth hard and cursed inwardly. Defense, you must block Cloud Shinobi's attack. Before Tsunade came, he had already asked the other three countries for help. Once Cloud Shinobi destroys Konoha, the warlike Thunder Country will definitely take the opportunity to expand. At this time, none of the other three ninja villages wanted to see it. Even if it is to stop the Kingdom of Thunder, they will take action. But the premise is that Konoha must resist Cloud Shinobi's attack. At the very least, they can't be allowed to break through the line of defense. There is no need for the weak to exist. This has been the practice in the ninja world. Generally, Konoha's strength is too weak, and it will attract the siege of the other four countries. Destroy Konoha and divide the territory of the Land of Fire. Tsunade knows this very well. On the other side, Reikage also has his own ideas. He had never seen Uchiha Muyun, an old monster from the Sengoku period. Only in the historical records of Cloud Shinobi, I found a few words about him. Suppress the entire Sengoku era. He didn't believe that there would be such a ninja at all. Moreover, Uchiha Muyun has absolutely no reason to deal with other Shinobu villages. It is Konoha that seals him, if Cloud Shinobi destroys Konoha. Maybe Uchiha Muyun still has to thank them. Therefore, he has no scruples at all. Except that he himself is still standing on the battlefield, the guards beside him, as well as Wooden Golem and Killer Bee, have participated in the battle. Be sure to capture Konoha as quickly as possible, so as not to benefit other fishermen in Shinobu Village. In the battlefield, Killer Bee's 8-sword style made his attack very strange, but very quick. The fat black body is like a flexible spinning top, with sharp blades all over it. From time to time, use 8 tails to sneak attacks. Konoha's ninja, no one is his opponent. In just a short while, there were more than a dozen Konoha shinobi who were killed by him. Seeing this scene, the Might Guy opened the 6th gate continuously, and a green arrogance rose all over his body. The nunchakus in both hands flew up and down, instantly blocking Killer Bee's figure. Yeah, in front of you is 8 tails Killer Bee, Master Killer Bee. Killer Bee caught the blade, leapt on one foot and beckoned to Guy. Konoha's blue beast is your opponent, attacking both teeth. The two sides played against each other again, blooming bright sparks of their debut. At the same time, Cloud Shinobi was stopped by Wooden Golem by the Hyuga and Inuzuka clan. Both families are ninjas who are good at tracking, and the Aburame family supports them. The remaining Cloud Shinobi masters also have their own opponents. The most dazzling is Konoha's old age, Genin Marusoshi Kosuke. With a cauldron on his back, he is not afraid of the ordinary kunai shuriken. A second Hokage in water style is very powerful. The thick water dragon bomb raged wildly on the battlefield, sweeping all the Cloud Shinobi into the Valley of End. A few detonating charms at random ended their lives. Shiranui Schwanjian finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this scene on the battlefield. Can win. As long as Reikage doesn't make a move, with his current strength, he can hold on to the battlefield. Moreover, Tsunade-sama hasn't shot yet. Possible. At this moment, a strong chakra wave came from not far away in an instant. That kind of strong pressure made everyone's hearts tremble. Even Tsunade had a cold sweat on his forehead. This feeling, is it? While feeling that kind of chakra, Killer Bee and Wooden Golem couldn't help but stop fighting. This is the tailed beast. 3 tails. Boom. A tailed beast bomb the size of a human head instantly bombarded Konoha's camp. The violent explosion instantly vaporized the surrounding Konoha shinobi. The blast of air blows down the Konoha shinobi. An angry shout resounded throughout the Valley of End. Konoha, today is the end of your country of fire. Konoha, today is the end of your country of fire. That angry voice made Tsunade's heart tremble. Chakra, the tailed beast, has a tender voice. Could this guy be? 4th Kazekage Yagura carried a big odd-shaped iron hook on his back, and appeared angrily beside the Cloud Shinobi unit. Chakra, the flaming tail beast, was slowly fading from him. Obviously, the tailed beast bomb just now was from 3 Tails Jinchuriki. Behind him, a large number of troops from Mist Shinobi followed. All of them are ninjas staring at Fire Country with anger. Seeing Yagura's figure, not only Tsunade, but even Reikage frowned. Since the end of the Third Ninja War, 4th Mizukage has issued a blood fog policy in the water country. No one can easily enter or leave the country of water. Yagura hasn't been walking in the ninja world for a long time. What is he doing at this time? Could it be that Cloud Shinobi is about to take Konoha, and is coming to carve up the territory of the Land of Fire? Reikage, my Mist Shinobi participated in the war this time just to understand the hatred between Konoha, and it has nothing to do with your Thunder Country. After hearing Yagura's words, Reikage couldn't help but snorted. Want to grab the fruits of victory at this time, and compose this kind of reason that no one can believe. In order to obtain huge benefits, Yagura's approach is not at all incomprehensible. It is also one of the 5 ninja villages. Now that Mist Shinobi has come to fight, Reikage has no way to stop it. Now, it depends on who can capture Konoha first, who can get the most benefit. Offensive, give me the defense to defeat Konoha. Cloud Shinobi's attacks became more fierce, and even Mist Shinobi's ninjas joined them. The entire Valley of End has almost turned into a pot of porridge. All kinds of ninjutsu emerged in an endless stream, with violent explosions, almost reflecting the entire sky into a fiery red. Countless Konoha shinobi players swayed their blood on the battlefield, blocking the attacks of Cloud Shinobi and Mist Shinobi. However, after all, it was a joint attack by 2 shinobu villages. Cloud Shinobi's ninja and Mist Shinobi ninja are both guarded against each other. failed to fully display all the combat power. This allowed Konoha shinobi to resist the attack with difficulty. However, in the face of the siege of the two ninja villages, failure is doomed. Tsunade clenched his teeth tightly, his face was full of ultimate anger. If it weren't for the massacre of Uchiha Muyun's awakening night, with Konoha's strength under the leadership of Sarutobi Hiruzen, who would dare to attack Konoha? Even if he wanted to, he would use some conspiracy and tricks. It will not be sieged by the two countries as it is now. Even 4th Mizukage Yagura, regardless of his identity, personally joined the battlefield. The powerful water style has even set off a sea of Wangyang in the Valley of End. All the corpses in the pool at the bottom of the valley were swept away. Having been controlled by Sharingan for so many years, Yagura's anger has been suppressed to the limit. He didn't keep the slightest hand between shots, just wanting the entire Konoha to disappear in the ninja world. Even a chakra tail appeared behind him. The powerful power of the carrier tail beast killed many Konoha's ninjas instantly. There is no power to fight back at all. What? Kill this monster. Why Mist Shinobi also came to attack Konoha? Why? Defense, defend. Cloud Shinobi's shards have broken through the line of defense. It's Mist Shinobi's Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost, come on. With the participation of Mist Shinobi, the form on the battlefield became more severe. Many Konoha shinobi were besieged to death before they could react. The entire rock wall in the Valley of the End was stained red with viscous blood. The blood and water evaporated by the flames floated in the air. Dye the surrounding air into a strange pink. Even after taking a breath, I can feel a smell of fishy sweetness in my throat. Seeing Konoha shinobi die one after another, Tsunade's eyesight is split. The whole body was violently angry, trembling slightly. The hands were instantly sealed, and the diamond-shaped mark on the forehead suddenly poured out a large amount of chakra. 100 Healings Mark, open. Ninja Art, Meiotic Regeneration. The black spell spread all over Tsunade's forehead. Even the exposed snow-white skin was engraved with this kind of magical spell. Full of an alternative beauty. Yagura, who was frantically attacking the surrounding Konoha shinobi, was taken aback for a moment. Look up. I saw that Tsunade, whose face was full of anger, fell from the sky in an instant, and slammed one foot down at him. Too much bullying. Even the surrounding air was crushed away in an instant, and there was a dull sound in the air. Boom. The ground under your feet shattered instantly. The cracks like spider webs spread to the surroundings. Numerous boulders peeled off from both sides of the valley and smashed into the Valley of End. The anger on Tsunade's face did not abate, and he was exploding all the chakra all over his body, pressing it into the ground fiercely. A gray tortoise shell instantly rose from the ground. Bounce her figure directly into the air. Tsunade's pupils shrank in an instant, and his entire face turned pale in an instant. That is, 3 tails. Roar. An angry roar resounded across the entire battlefield in an instant. Many ninjas were stunned by the loud roar, and even their heads were a little dizzy. I can't stand still. A huge tortoise suddenly rose from the ground. The 3 thorny tails swept randomly, sweeping away the Konoha shinobi near the body. A thick blood mist spurted out in midair. As soon as he landed, he was severely smashed into meat sauce by a giant foot. Seeing this scene, even Raikage was a little shocked. Yagura only uses his own strength to suppress the tail beast in his body, rather than being connected with 8 tails like Killer Bee. If you want to become a tail beast, you must absorb the chakra of the tail beast. At the same time, his own chakra will also be absorbed by the tail beast. When his own chakra is absorbed by the tail beast, Yagura will die. But now that Cloud Shinobi and Mist Shinobi join forces to attack, there is no need for tail beastization at all. As long as he attacked for a while, Konoha could not resist it naturally. Why waste chakra using tail animalization? At this moment, the huge 3 tails suddenly looked up and opened a big mouth. A large amount of chakra instantly condensed in his mouth, forming a dark ball of light. The face of Might Guy who was in battle instantly became extremely gloomy. The tailed beast bomb, which is completely body-tailed, cannot resist even Tsunade-sama. It seems that this time it's time for me to carry out my forbearance. Just like my father was back then. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.